Everyone, listen, it's time. It's finally time. It is. Friday, April 29th at 9:15 will be the first show of I Choose You, and I need everyone to be there. I have NFL, I have some entertainers, I have blue collar, I have white collar. But listen, guys, I'm not done yet. I'm not done with receiving applications. So make sure all you eligible bachelors, make sure you drop me a DM in there, or either go to sbshow2020@gmail. I'm still accepting applications. And Lapeef, thank you so much for allowing us to sponsor your show. And everyone, April 29th, Friday at 9:15, the first show of I Choose You.
So sick of waiting for any luck to come my way. Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Unsolicited, and I am Security Boss. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great, terrific Saturday afternoon. And welcome to SB Nation. So listen, if y'all haven't figured it out, we're trying something over here at SB Nation. We're doing this different times, bringing you this content just to see if it'll be a good time. We want to, share, what we have. We feel like we got a very good product. We want everybody that wishes to see it to be able to see it. So we're thinking about doing weekend shows, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Sunday tomorrow, we won't do one, but coming soon, we're really thinking about doing Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Friday has been very successful, and we appreciate you all for your engagement. I mean, y'all have really been knocking it out the park. And Friday is a definite show time at 4 p.m. Did I say that correctly? Friday is a definite show time. Friday afternoons at 4 p.m. will be a definite show time for Security Boss at Unsolicited. So we're going to have that one, but we're going to try this Saturday. We're going to see if Saturday at 4 is just successful, because I would love to do this and just take the week off and just do what y'all do. Go to different channels, check out what's out there. So it's up to you all. We're going to give y'all what y'all want. So hopefully Saturdays we also be good. But if not, I can take the day off and chill too. So it's totally up to you all. But I appreciate you all being here thus far. It is an excellent day today. It is Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. The sun is shining. It's almost 80 degrees in my city, almost 80, if not already 80. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for being here. Yesterday was an outstanding show, and we're going to just keep it going per se. We're going to add to it. We're going to hopefully come up with some solutions, or not, if not some suggestions, but we're going to get to it. But first, I definitely got to say welcome and thank you all for being here. And Big Bad Bull, I'm glad to see you this Saturday afternoon. And Bethany, I don't know where the kids are, but you dead on it, girl. How are you? I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you both. And Maria, you must have the day off, but I'm glad you're here. You missed yesterday. You got to go back and check it out. It was full. It was a lot. It was a lot, Maria. But I'm glad to see you here today. So hopefully you can add something to what's going on. But listen, I got a few announcements to make. I'm always letting you know, pound for pound, how you doing today? Good to see you. I'm always letting y'all know what's going on. And, first things first, I've already told you about the schedule changes. If today is good at 4 o'clock, we will be working on the weekends. I don't mind that. I can do that. Young investor, hello, salute to you. I don't mind doing that. I actually would love to do that, but it's totally up to you. I want to give y'all what y'all want, and I don't want anybody to miss the content. Anybody that wants to be here, I want y'all to be here. So, Elena, hello. Looking radiant as usual. Thank you. You know what? I gotta say thank you to my ladies. Y'all be coming in there with them comments. I love them. Marcus, how you doing today? I love it. But y'all know I be in the middle of stuff. Y'all be saying nice hair, and I can't say that. I'll be like, thank you. I hope y'all be seeing my smiles though. So anyway, I appreciate it. Jedi Mike, how you doing? Good to see you. But again, we're gonna bring y'all all the announcements and whatever we got going on over here to keep y'all involved. Now listen, I don't think I mentioned it yesterday, but if I did it briefly. I didn't give it the value that it has, but I'm gonna tell y'all again, because we haven't played it all out completely. There is something coming. SB Nation has a new show coming. It's called The Standard. It's coming in May, and The Standard would be just what it sounds like. The Standard. I'm going to have our next generation coming to us, and they're going to be telling us how difficult, how easy. They're going to share with us the disciplines the tough parts, the easy parts. They're going to share all that with us because guess what? Everybody always asks for examples. I'm going to bring you some examples. All right. No, we're not going to have that excuse anymore. We're going to have some examples of how it can be done correctly. And I can't wait to share that with y'all. It's coming. It's coming in May. Also, y'all already know next Friday night is the first night to I Choose You. You know, Friday night, 9:15 Eastern is going to be the first show. I hope and pray everything goes off well. I need all of you there. I need all of you in the comment section. And listen, y'all get there at 9:15 so I can tell y'all how y'all can contribute to the show because I need y'all. So I really do. So I'm putting all y'all to work, but I need y'all. Y'all can enjoy the show, but I need y'all too. Security Boss is the Security Boss claps the hands. This show is valuable. Thank you, Danny. How are you doing today? I'm glad to see you. BCDC123. Hello, how are you? I'm glad you're here. Listen, guys, I love y'all comments, so keep it coming. Just, comment in the comment section. Also, if you go back and review the video or any video, you got something you want to say, go ahead and add to it. I like to try to read all my videos. All my comments. And I like to try to comment back to you. So it might take me a little bit of time sometime, but I appreciate them. So keep them coming. Again, I told you about the standard. I also told you about what's happening on Friday night. I Choose You, guys. It's going to be excellent. We're speaking it into existence. And remember, if the pilot is good, we're going to continue this thing. And it's not going to be no awkwardness in dating anymore. We're going to get everybody married, those who want to be. But anyway, what else is going on? On Monday night, you know that I'm with co-hosting with Black Man. So we're going to be doing that. And I have no idea yet what the show is going to be about, but we're going to make it exciting just for you all. And we want all of you all to be there. So this is going to pick up from what happened last night or yesterday. The title of the show is Men, Modern Women Negotiate 50-50. Why? But before we get started, I'll jump into it. And, I'm going to be opening up I'm going to be putting the link in the chat really soon because we're going to kind of kick off from where we were. And where we were last night, we left with a panel full of ideas and solutions and opinions. So we're going to kind of pick up there, but I want to make sure we set the scene correctly because I'm going to put a definition on it. I'm going to define it. Now, if y'all don't agree with my definition, I need y'all's help. All right. Thank you, Miss Creative. Thank you for being here. SB looking like $1 billion. Go, girl. You too. I hope to meet you one day. I hope to see your face. And listen, this will be the perfect place for you to cam up because you always add a lot to the comment section. So just keep it in mind. No pressure. But let's define this 50-50. And again, we're going to define it. And this is how we're going to proceed with it throughout the show. Now, if you have a different definition on what 50-50 is, I need for you to redefine it before you give your opinion, because we be one place and y'all be another, and we all need to get on one page, and that's a big problem. I think a major problem with us in this community is that we define things so differently, men and women, and I think we all want the same thing. It's just how we gonna get there, right? I ultimately believe that we all just want love and respect. And I've heard people say this before, so that's nothing profound. But if y'all agree with me, I need for you all to let me know. I really believe both genders just want love and respect. Let's say it better. Women want love and men want to be respected. Now, that's not hard because that's what we should be doing anyway in relationships, especially in marriage relationship. But I realized from yesterday's show that there's some things that really need to be defined because some people believe it's this, other people believe it's that. And I don't know if we should have those. I don't know if that's correct way of coming to a solution or suggestions when we have this different way of thinking. Now, I'm not telling you how to think, but I would love for you to share in addition to what we're saying so we can kind of be all on the same page if you have something to add. So let me know this. 100 period. All right. Okay, Big Bell Boy, I understand that. But let me tell you this. I don't have the video keyed up from yesterday to go back to that. But what the statement was is this: 50-50, women don't want to do that anymore. So I never had a woman yesterday that want to or have done 50-50 Cam up and let us know what it is she wants. But for me, let me share with you my 50-50. 50-50 to me would be 50-50 in finance, 50-50 in responsibilities. That means both parties are working in the household. The woman is responsible for 50-50 responsibility of whatever it takes to run that household. Now, if it's an exact 50-50, I don't believe, but I'm just thinking that that couple is have agreed to do these things. Women do this and men do that. It's 50-50 in responsibilities. Whether it's 50-50 or not, hey, I don't know as far as being exact. And I think a lot of couples actually operate like that because guess what, y'all? It's so expensive in today's time. It's kind of hard to live off of one income. And I believe that's what 50-50 was understood to be. Now, again, if you have a different analogy on what 50-50 is, let me know. And Danny G, you're exactly right. I felt like this is my opinion too on 50-50. That's more like a roommate situation because who actually gets to make the final decision? If there's a decision in the household that really needs to be made, who gets to make that final decision? Because I'm bringing over half or half and you're bringing half too. And the other thing with the 50-50, if the man is making twice the amount of money that the woman is making, then is that even fair to say that she needs to give 50%? So we got to get back to it. And somebody also mentioned the other night that that's tit for tat. Did you do, it really is. But I'm understanding now that women no longer want to do that. So women, I need to hear what it is you want to do. Do you want to go back to a traditional marriage? If you do, and I always say that I feel like I'm a traditional woman. My husband's and our relationship is pretty much traditional. But I always tell you guys too that I adapted to my husband, and whatever it is my husband needs or wants for me to do, I do it. And another thing, we put all the money in one pot. So, I mean, but guess what? I work for him. So that's really, really traditional, right? But I'm living in a modern time and it works for us. We've adjusted. We moving on. We don't have any issues with what it is we have to do. I don't have any problems with respect to my husband. He doesn't have any problems treating me as his lady, his woman, opening the door. He don't have any problems with doing anything for me as his wife. We have no issues when that comes. But again, our traditional marriage may look a little modern to some because I do work. I do work for my husband. I am security boss. Someone would say is a very masculine, feel, but I work for my husband. He sets the scene and I walk it out. So, I get it. So Big Bad Bull say, SB, you are 100%. It seems I am 100%. That's why I don't quite understand the 50-50. And I haven't had a woman come up and say to me that is what she wants in a relationship. If you all were here yesterday, y'all understood that this came from a comment that Aaron O made. He said the women no longer want to be 50-50. And then he went on to say that sometimes when they're in those type of relationships, it always reverts back. Bolo, how are you? It always reverts back to the woman maybe having more responsibilities because she's also working and taking on the household duties. So I need to hear from a woman and a man. I think there was a young man here that said his dating life is somewhat 50-50. So I want to hear more from that. And I also want to hear from a woman that is in a 50-50 relationship and what are her expectations from that relationship, and is she married or single? And again, guys, when you're coming into the live, make sure you're giving us a thumbs up. Let's get those likes up. I would appreciate it so very much. And again, I forgot to tell you guys, we didn't even do the money line song. We just got in here and ready to talk. But guess what? Moneyline song, $9.99 value. Get the Moneyline song, $9.99 and up, and we appreciate all that you do. All right. So the other thing was the other thing was marriage. I'm understanding now that we're trying to redefine marriage. And listen, we can't redefine marriage. Now, what we do once we get married is what we do, but marriage has not changed, guys. Marriage is the same. It's marriage. It's in the Bible. It's equated to what Christ does for the church. It's husband and wife. It's marriage. Now, you can try to change it and make it suit your situation if you like, but it's not. It's the same. we can do all these things in the name of marriage, but the marriage concept is still the marriage concept. It's the same. CC, how are you? If I haven't spoken to you yet, we just getting started. Welcome and hello, and I'm glad you're here. But that hasn't changed. The concept of marriage hasn't changed, and I don't think we need to change it now. We can operate however we want to in the marriage. And Danny G says as well, marriage is the union between man and woman. Yes. So, Mr. Thunder Mother Trucker, how about that? How are you? Oh God, how are you doing? I like that. So again, these things right here, we are not going to redefine. What we do and however we adapt to our spouse in the marriage is how we adapt, right? But marriage is marriage. So I don't want to redefine that, but I am looking for some answers on the 50-50. Y'all can let me know. So anyway, we were talking yesterday, and we've gotten to the point where we're saying that the women want to renegotiate because, again, it seems as though the responsibilities are falling back on them a little more, because it starts out as a 50 husband, you do this and I'll do this and then this, and I'm working and you're working. But then all of a sudden it ends up with the woman having to do more because of the housework, I'm assuming, or whatever the situation may be. I don't really know. But I do want to know from the men, what are your expectations from your women in a 50-50 relationship? Or I should say, since you don't want that, because I'm understanding men are not trying to change. They still want what they view as a traditional relationship or marriage. But I want to know what it looks like, because we're in modern times. I really want to know what it looks like, because you can't traditionally want a woman to do all the housework, can you? And go to work for 40 hours a week and come home and take care of the kids. Is that what we're doing? I mean, it could be, because, traditionally the man went to the work, and we wouldn't want to go that tradition, not necessarily in the Black community, because I've always known Black women to work. Either they were, like someone said earlier today, nannies. They worked in someone's laundry. They did housekeeping. They were nurses. We always work, because it's always been established that it took two people to run our households. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So, oh gosh, this name is Olawajaba. Olawajaba. You are doing a fantastic job, ma'am. Keep it up, the good work. Thank you so much. And I know I messed that up. So hopefully one day you'll get to come up and tell us exactly how to pronounce it. And Miss Creative says, it's a covenant between a man and a woman. Marriage. It is. So we don't need to redefine marriage. I think sometimes we're doing that. And I'm basing this off of a comment I got. And listen, Miss Aretha, thank you so much for your comment. But she was saying that marriage, why are we so, I'm going to paraphrase, up in arms because marriage is a partnership. Because in partnerships, we are usually equal partners. Nobody makes the final decision. You might have a group of people that make the decision, or, whoever has the most, stocks, they make that decision, whatever, how is it done? But in a marriage relationship, you're becoming one. So someone has to be the head, and the head is generally, or is and should be, the man. And this is the marriage relationship. So that's why it's not your partner. But I understand, I think, when you say partner, but you said life partner. There are other people who use life partners instead of marriage. And I agree and understand exactly what you're saying, but that's why people don't agree with saying partnership when it comes to marriage. Mr. Scotland, I thought that was interesting when Bella said many young men out here don't really want to lead. That is very interesting. We're going to talk about it. I need to hear from these men. Because if men don't want to lead, y'all know what's happening to us, right? Y'all know y'all really know what we're getting ready to do. Can you understand where we're going? Hey, Black men, how are you? I need to hear from that. I need to hear about that. I need to hear. I don't know if a man would actually say that to me, but I would love to hear from a man that says he's not really interested in leading. But I have heard men tell me that they want modern women. So is that one and the same? I don't know, but I've heard men say that I really would like to have a modern woman. So, I don't know. I really want to know. So, we're asking these questions. Pound for pound, SB, I want to move my shoulders. Listen, money line $9.99. Pound for pound, you're going to start out like that. Listen, We're gonna move our show. I hope we get to move our shoulder sometime today. But if not, let's just have good conversations, because you always add something good to the comment section. And again, guys, we're gonna drop the link in just a little bit and we're gonna get into it. But that was a very interesting comment too. And I want to hear more about that, because if men are not wanting to lead, then we all know that the women have to adjust. And when women have to adjust and adapt to leading, which we already know, that could be quite problematic. I'm not saying women can't do it, but what is it going to lead us to? You know, we have to do what has to be done. I want our men to be those ones that lead. I want the men to be the head servants. I want everyone, y'all know I want everybody to be married. I know that ain't the case, but I don't think that no, antisocial socialite podcast says no one forces a woman who wants a leader do be with a man who isn't. I think that might be don't be with a man. No one forces a woman who wants a leader. Do be with a man who isn't. Okay. I probably didn't read that correctly, but what I do want to say is I thought she made a comment that not all men want to, and this is Bella. Bella, if you're listening, please come and you can make your comment again and we can get started on that. She said that not all men want to lead. And if a man, from my comments back to her, was if a man doesn't want to lead, he does not need to have a wife or even children for that matter. And guess what? Not all men will be married. So, and not all men will have children. So I guess that's fair. But I would like to hear from a man. By the way, security boss, let me see that comment one more time. It's Marcus. What was your... I like your outro. Where are you at? I like your outro music at the end of the song. Thank you, Marcus. It's good, isn't it? Mr. Boss loves doing that things. The music is always good. So, all right, guys. So we're going to answer these questions. We're going to get back to it. But what it is, are you guys willing to renegotiate? On yesterday, we had Bella. You're here. Bella, can you come up real quick and bring us back to that interesting point that you were making, and you kind of faded away. I know there were some issues yesterday, but your comment seem to have turned this thing a little upside down. So choosing one says real men definitely lead, and if they not, then they're not a real man. The issue is most men weren't required to lead from their mamas. Oh, but listen, you said a whole lot, because if I need to know what a real man is then, because what you're saying is that if a man is not willing to take on the responsibilities of a wife and children, he's not a real man. Wow, that's a lot to say, because some would say that's a man that's being quite responsible because he doesn't want the responsibility. Instead, he could be out here impregnating women that he doesn't want to marry and doesn't want to have kids with. So I want to, I need to see what we're saying. So if that's what you're saying, then we need to talk about that too. But it still was an interesting comment. It was an interesting comment that Bella brought up. And we're just going to continue. First of all, we're going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat, and we're going to get the comments started. So I just wanted y'all to know where we are. So men, are you willing to renegotiate? And black man, I don't know if you're working today, but you had something to add, and then you had to go. I caught you at a bad time. I don't know if you're able to talk today, but if so, I would love for you to come up also, because you had something you wanted to add. And we're going to get this conversation started, because I need to know, if we're not renegotiating, what exactly are we doing? What are we doing? Hey, Nay, I don't know if I saw you in there, but I see Bolo says hello, so I am saying hello too. And if there's anyone that I missed, welcome to the chat. We are really completing our conversation from yesterday. Are men wanting to negotiate? The women are we still doing 50-50? And if we're doing 50-50, why? Whatever happened to the man being a average earner and the woman living, his wife, within his means? Whatever happened to that? That's a real thing, guys. That is a real thing. It can happen. It really can. But I realize that in this time, we have to have the biggest house. We have to have the finest cars. We have to shop. Ladies, we have to have pocketbooks. I understand. I'm saying pocketbooks. Y'all gonna really go crazy on that. Handbags. We have to have all those things. I understand that. But there is still a way that a man can be a traditional man and a woman can take care of the home and not have to work or men not have to depend on their income. There is a way. Hey, Jedi.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing? Good
Doing
to see
real
you.
good. Did I see you yesterday? Were you here yesterday?
No, wasn't in the chat, but I was watching.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you know what we're talking about, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So you're gonna be helpful with this. What how would you define 50-50?
Terms 50-50 in terms of I'll say uh 50-50 in terms of I guess of weight and accountability of the relationship. You know, because I think not talking about terms of a analytical perspective, terms of like assets and money, etc. More in
Mhm.
terms of like duties, action, and like serving, right? Because I, I I had this conversation with a few friends of mine about this because the 50-50 mentality, at least the stigma of it, is perpetuated in social media today. But however, I think the way we're trying to talk from it from this perspective is actually I think that more fruitful way of it because it's mainly saying there's two people in the relationship, but it's also about establishing the accountability between both of the people in the relationship.
So are you saying we need to dump that 50-50 talking point?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, this is
I
my
like
my
that.
personal.
I like
Yeah.
that, Jedi. It's a lot of talking points I think we need to dump.
Mhm.
But I didn't start them. I'm just trying to bring some light to them or shed light upon them to let them know that all this can be done traditionally or modernly or whatever you want to call it within a relationship that actually works.
Right.
Um, it doesn't have to look like it doesn't have to look like oh gosh, the idea is women we have our roles, men they have their roles, but again I say it all the time, my husband is the head, he's the leader, whatever it is he needs for me to do I'll do. um Not that he can't do it and not that he's requiring me to do it, but I'm his wife, so I'm here to serve him. And going into a marriage, I would think that that would be every woman's mindset, you
So
know.
I said you would think that, but unfortunately, like I said, there's one thing about expectations, and then there's one thing about reality, right?
Mhm.
And the reality of the situation is that um, one, we there's this whole saying that we accept the love we think we deserve, in terms of like what we feel we want to receive and feel like we're being whole in the relationship. But as you mentioned, one thing you said, to you're serving your husband, but it's the role. It's not about you in your relationship, at least what I'm observing. And I think there's a big thing that we need to distinguish, which kind of established this whole 50-50 narrative is ego, which
Mm.
I think that ego is basically what's kind of destroying everything. Because like, well, I must be this, I must, uh, have 50-50 whatever. Because if it happened, then my ego will be tarnished, whatever that might be in a situation of with a woman thinking like, whether in the modern sense, feeling that what she feel like she's lacking or contributing to in a relationship, or in the sense of a man, we're thinking like, okay, well, she got to play her part, and if she doesn't, then I guess my ego hurts, but yet I'm should be the leader. So then it's a double-edged sword, you know?
You're exactly right about that. And I think I seen Aka. Hello, how are you? Aka was in the on the panel yesterday, and she mentioned that as a woman, the ego, or she said pride, I think, was one of the reasons why she wouldn't contribute, I suppose, 100%. Or not, she didn't say she wouldn't, but was real afraid, had a major fear into doing that. And she felt like some of it was due to fear. I mean, due to ego or pride. And that
Mhm.
could, and then you say that again. But it seems like it's something that we can do as women, or we have to figure out where this pride is coming from. I mean, are we getting married to, are we not learning enough about our spouses? Because it seems to me that the one thing that I didn't bring into the relationship was pride. You have a fear that things are not going to work, period.
Mhm.
Things may not work, but you have to tell yourself that no matter what, this is all I got. Does that make sense? Because
Well,
that's how I motive. That's how I got through
well,
mine.
well, and this is probably something I'll probably tell you in the back end chat and stuff, but like what I've
Got
like
you.
currently experienced is that it's basically I think how women can fix this is more of not really trying to understanding, the person in a relationship. I think is also understanding, thyself, because The thing is about what is the root of fear and what is it controlling of? Is fear of
Exactly.
like, well, I have nothing to lose, whatever. But you said this is all I got because it's the mindset of like I'm not in it. It was about the basics terms of what had been in history about survival, right? Where I'm not caring about terms of like the expectations I'm meeting around my friends or society, whatever. I'm
Right.
like, this is my duty to the person who i.e. in love with, right? But then even in that word in definition itself get misconstrued. But yeah, I think it's more of understanding thyself is what is the lack of or the fear that you having. Because I think the one thing that whether it might be media today that we keep emphasizing today about that's creating this insecurity in relationships is that there's this one word that we really don't talk about, which is enough, right? Is
Mhm.
that what is enough for you, like as a man, some or in terms of like lifestyle, purpose, duty, whatever, or peace is like, in terms of like, at what point, as you can say in a relationship where it's like, I've done enough, I have enough, I am enough, right? And then if you can't really have that answer, then basically you can keep asking that fear of like, what I'm going to be losing if XYZ happens and overthinking.
Right. So let me say this a little bit because I always have say things because I think you all just know what I'm going to say. I know what I'm thinking. But let me go back a little bit. When I say that I have, this is all I have, I often say that when I did and said my vows, it got really real to me. And I heard them and I listened to them. And then at that point, I realized that my covenant was to God and I did not want to ever disappoint. So that's what I mean by this is all I got. So that's what happened to the fear. I was still afraid, but of course, if you believe in what you believe and you have these principles, that fear will go away. But it was still a thing that I had to work my way through because, again, I was only 25 years old. How much did I know? Because I had to divest from my family. It was just me and him and God, of course. So
Right.
that's a big thing to do with a 25-year-old because what 25-year-old can you tell that you don't need your mama, you don't need your daddy, you don't need them right now? Who can do that? I mean, you are 23.
Yes, man. I'll be 24 in October.
That's like me telling you, you don't need your mama, you don't need your daddy. You just need to be with me and this woman. Could you do that? Can
Right.
you hear that right away? So
Right.
that is fearful, but then you begin to believe in it and you begin to speak on it and then you begin to trust in it. And that's what happens. And that's what took the fear away from me. And I continue to make that remind myself of what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to disappoint. And that became my goal to be married, so that's how I did it. So that's what I recommend. I can't recommend, that's my belief system. But let me read this. Ine says, at Unsolicited Security Boss, I thought when I heard about 50-50, it referred to be referred to the relationship itself being 100%, not the amount effort given. You know what, I have no idea. I'm saying I thought it was everything. I'm considering it like a roommate situation,
Right.
finances, but not necessarily 50-50 as in actual, like you said, the half of a pie. Who knows? If a man makes double, then it's just that they share in responsibilities
Ability.
versus but when you do that and you have a woman that's contributing just as much if not more, then you have somewhat of a conflict because when you get to the end, when it's time to make the decision, then the woman's not going to allow you to make that decision without probably some pushback because she's contributing just as much. Well, she's contributing 50% of whatever is required to make that household operate. So you might get pushback. And I think that's what it is. Bolo, are you here?
I am.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, Mr. Jedi. What's the deal, yo?
How you doing, man? Good
Dealio.
hearing your voice.
You are telling your age, brother. Dealio. Oh, God. You know what? You worse than me. I said pocketbook. So anyway, what you got to add to this? I know.
Pocketbook? Who says that?
I did. Hell, just a little bit ago. I say, I know you women want these pocketbooks.
They don't call them pocketbooks no more. They
I
call
know.
them
Stop.
makeup.
Okay. I know. I understand. Go ahead, Bolo. What you got to add to this?
I mean, I think the issue is that we're not taking the time to get to know who we are as men and women. Because, once we know who we are as men and women and we know what our worth is, we can go and get our value. Right? I always use the example of the $10 million diamond. Once I know what the value of that $10 million diamond is, I can go out there and get the worth of it. I'm not taking nothing less than that $10 million diamond. So once you know what the value of who you are as a man, or the value of who you are as a woman, your connection to the Father, your intention, your focus, your direction. Once you learn to love yourself and you know what you're worth, that reflects in your standards, your values. So now when you go out there to meet this woman or meet this man, your standards is what gauges you, and that vibe is what attracts that tribe or pushes that man or woman to the side. A lot of the times we're not being patient and getting to know who we are as young men and young women. Jedi is 23, and the mind frame that he has is so advanced than normal 23-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that the woman that you're supposed to meet is there. That she's already there. The man you're supposed to meet is already there. What the Lord wants you to do is get yourself prepared and ready so that when you meet that woman or said man, that you understand what the value of them is, because you know what the value in you is. So it starts with you so that you can go out there and match your fly. But, as young men and young women, we want to rush and get to this point so quickly and don't understand that we're losing so many lifelong lessons and creating these little babies, these little children that suffer in the midst of all this stuff.
Very good. So what do you think though, Bolo, when we're talking about now that these women want to renegotiate? Because what I'm hearing is women are into this modern day where they're working and they're making money, but men still want to be traditional, as in head of households, leader, which I think they should be. But when it comes to making decisions in the household, what do you think about this? Should men be renegotiating?
This is the this is the thing that trips me out a whole lot, SB.
Okay.
What my wife makes doesn't change what my position is in the home. I don't understand why I have to renegotiate. If my wife is a career woman and she's making $1 million a year, that don't change what my position is in the home or what we are to each other. She's making $1 million a year. That's what it is. See, what we have to understand is the difference between a modern woman and a traditional woman is a modern woman is on that, what you just said. Listen, man, I'm making this amount of money. I got these amount of degrees. So I have to be able to have this much say in the crib. Okay. See, a traditional woman understands. She can go and have a career. She can have these degrees, but her mindset is, I'm bringing the spoils back home, and it doesn't change what my position is at home. That's the difference between a traditional woman. She can go into these atmospheres and not be taken over. She acclimates herself to the situation and comes home and fits right back in to the dynamic of what it's supposed to be. So we have to understand the difference between a modern and traditional. A traditional woman is never going to say what you just said. A modern woman is going to say that. So if you know what your value is as a man and you know what your position is as a man, God-fearing man, looking for a God-fearing woman, you're not going to have these conversations because everyone's going to be in step.
Okay, Bolo, I want you to play with me for just a little bit, okay? You down with it?
I'm down.
Hello?
You cheated on me.
Can I follow up with him?
Wait a minute, who is this? Hold on for a moment. Let's mute this person. Who is that speaking? Okay, so anyway, Bolo.
It was me. I was gonna start speaking, but
oh, I'm sorry, sir. Can you just give me just a second? Can you hear me? Okay, so Bolo.
yeah, I was gonna say something, but
you go ahead and say it. Go ahead. Go ahead. We're gonna go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I've tried to say it 2 times, and go ahead. I don't know. Are you hearing me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but it's just a little bit of echo. Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm hearing you.
No, I want you to go ahead and make.
I was gonna follow up with what he said. It's like I was saying, I understand what he said, but nowadays it's hard to find the traditional he's talking about because of who's raising those children, right? Because we have a lot of women now raising by single mothers who's telling their daughter to be focused on themselves. So it's hard to find traditional women when most of children are grow up from like a modern woman, right? And I can understand what you say about the whole money thing, right? And yes, money should not matter, but circumstances change, right? I feel like there's you might grow up together with a woman and maybe you guys were making equal income at some point, but later down the line, maybe she end up getting a raise and maybe her career as escalate and your career stay the same. Now all of a sudden, because she's making more money, maybe she feel like, oh, because I'm making more money, I should be said more to say. And I think that situation happened a lot from some of my friends that are married, right? To where like in the beginning when they were younger in college, where he used to say a lot more in a relationship, and all of a sudden after college, and she's making more money. All of a sudden, he's coming to tell us as a group of friends, man, she don't want to listen to me no more, or because she feel like she's making more money, she feel like she have to, you know what I mean? And he's trying to figure out what should I do because, you know what I mean? Is a battle and stuff like that.
Okay, so listen, I'm gonna ask Bolo to comment to you because I think what he said it's not up for negotiation. So I'm gonna let Bolo say it again because I think we're reducing manhood down to money. So I'm gonna let Bolo say what he said to you again so you can hear him and concentrate on what he's saying and not exactly what a woman would do. So Bolo, can you address him again?
Yes, I'll address them again. When you know what you are as a man, you know what your value is. I'm not hearing that. And anytime you vet a woman, she's going to understand the way you speak and the way you come across. The onus is on you to take accountability and responsibility for the women that you pick. So if you pick a woman that soon as she makes more bread, now she's like, all right, the relationship changes, then there's something you missed. There's something you missed. There's no way in hell my woman is going to make more money than me and then tells me we're going to renegotiate your position in the home. That can't happen. I don't have these conversations. Why is it? Because us as young men, we're rushing. We don't know what a good woman looks like because we don't know what a good man looks like. We don't know what we need. We don't know what we want. We're 22, we're 21, we're 18, we're 19. So take your time. When you're meeting these shorties and these chicks are making this bread, just by the conversation, you should be able to say, swipe left. Just by the conversation. But because they're banging, because they got that behind that you like, that mysteriously hypnotizes you. You get this chick pregnant, and then she's the one that's the devil. When you're the one that walked into this eyes wide open. No, I'm not telling you there isn't women out there that know how to beguile. There are many of them that do. Your job is to take your time, my brother. Your job is to vet these women and make sure that this is the woman that matches you. If she doesn't, be patient and find yourself another woman. That's it. Be strong enough to walk away. Have more discipline, penis discipline, to be able to say, you know what? It was good. This dinner was good. I'm going to pay my half. You pay your half. And I'm going to go back to the drawing board and find me another short. A lot of us ain't on that. We see this woman, we get mesmerized, and we get caught up. We have to stop that. Stop thinking with your penis and start thinking with your brain.
Thank you, Bolo. He dropped off. I hope he's listening, though. But, sir, if you want to come back up, you can definitely come back up. I don't know what happened, but thank you, Bolo, for that. But, Cheeky, hello. How are you today, sir?
I'm well. How you doing?
Doing good. Let me speak to Mr. Chaotic up there. How are you, sir?
I'm doing awesome. I just got a notification that you were live.
Good. We're glad to see you here. Hold on for one moment. Let me get Cheeky in on this. And Cheeky, what do you think about this? You know what? You were there yesterday, and you know where we left it. So what you look? I need you to hold back, though. Understand?
I get.
Don't give everything. Just give us a little.
I get what you're saying. But yeah, a lot of what he says is saying or said is, I share the same sentiment. Um, men tend to be a lot they or tend to claim a lot of logical, mindset until it involves sex or
Yep.
anything dealing with the opposite sex. Like I was saying yesterday,
That's what you said yesterday. Yeah.
it's literally it's just like you can say men love to say, we're more logical and that's why we should lead, and but that's, all of a sudden it goes out the window when you have somebody that's physically attractive. Um, so the thing about it is like is this: as men, you've got to take responsibility for yourself, and then also, unfortunately, depending on your mindset, take responsibility for the girl that you're interacting with. You've got to make decisions for her. Like if you're going to be a leader in that sense or in that way, then that means that you take responsibility in every aspect, right? The reason why I choose to live my life the way I do is because I take responsibility of my actions, but also hers or whoever I interact with, right? I understand every action I have, has a reaction or cause in someone else's life, which means that I have to think for them as well in a sense, right? It doesn't mean they're not autonomous or they can't operate within their own means, but if you've been in a leadership position, everything comes back to you. Like if something goes wrong, it's your fault. Something goes right, it's the team's effort. But in the background, we all know it was kind of him. But either way it goes, something go wrong, your child get in trouble, they're gonna be looking for the parent. But more specifically, if the dad's there, the daddy. And if the dad ain't there, the mama. And it trickles down. So, men have to start thinking in that way. Men have to learn, or young men have to understand what leadership is and how it works within a traditional realm. And stop asking women to be traditional if you don't understand what that means. I don't think that's a fair ask.
I like that. So, Mr. Chaotic,
Yes.
so how you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Doing awesome.
So, what do you wouldn't hear yesterday, I don't think, but
No, I wasn't here.
judging by the title, what do you think about? Are you willing to renegotiate? Not you, because you're married, but do you think men should be renegotiating with women? Because women are ready to renegotiate instead of being 50-50, I suppose. If they were, they want now to renegotiate. Now, what terms they want now, I don't really know because I haven't had a woman come up and tell me what those new terms are. But what do you think about the renegotiations?
So you said if, based on, um, if you guys have already been together, or are you just meeting her? Like, I'm sorry. I can't. I probably should have watched it yesterday, but
That's okay. No, no. Listen, it's
okay.
in a marriage relationship. Modern women now
Yeah.
go into marriage relationships 50-50. This is what I'm hearing.
Oh, no, 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 no. I totally disagree. No, you should never go into a relationship 50-50 as a man. A man should be the primary breadwinner in a relationship. Um, I mean, I'm very traditional in that sense. I mean, if your wife would love to work, fine. My wife doesn't work, and my mom was a professional woman, and she didn't have to work, but my dad pretty much provided for all of us. And my mom had a very good job in the medical field, by the way. And but no, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't be in a relationship where a woman holds that much power economically. I mean, 50% is too much. Because now the back talking can occur. Because now she can say, "Well, I paid for this. I did this." Then you will have a situation where maybe the domestic tasks are not being handled because now she thinks she's your equal. So no, you should never negotiate with a woman. In my opinion, in my chaotic truth, it just leads to disaster. Would you? I mean, to me, I wouldn't negotiate with a child. So why would I negotiate with a woman? Um, it doesn't make any sense to me. You know,
Well, it
yeah.
all depends on how you see it. Because some say it's a conversation of speaking to your wife, not necessarily negotiations. Negotiations sound a little crazy. I get it,
No,
but
it sounds good.
you think so? Negotiations?
Yeah, I mean, it's the title is very catchy. I
Oh,
mean, it's very interesting because, like I said, I think a lot of men today, the problem is that they negotiate with women, and the thing is that you shouldn't. You know, why are you even having a conversation like that with a woman in the first place? Oh, I'll do
because they
this.
need it. They need their money.
No, no, a man is supposed to be the primary breadwinner for his family and for his children.
But we're
And
not living in this little small house, 800 square foot house. We're not doing that.
well, it doesn't matter. You should, as a man, make enough money to provide for a 3,000 square foot house and provide for everything pretty much. Yeah, it'd be nice if your wife gives you little gifts and little things here and
But
there.
you already know $40,000 ain't gonna be buying that 3,000 square foot house. You
Well, you
already
shouldn't
know.
be. Well, here goes the thing: you shouldn't get married as a man if you're making $40,000 a year. That doesn't make any, especially in America. America is a super capitalistic society. Why on earth would a man get married making $40,000 a year? I never have understood that. Now you have some ride or die marriages. Don't get me wrong, but as a man now, you have enough information now to know that $40,000 does not get you far, especially like in a city like New York, Dallas. You know it ain't getting you nowhere in LA. If you're making $40,000 a year as a man and you want to get married, move to like North Dakota. But
So
you
you
ain't
saying chaotic that my the UPS guy doesn't deserve love?
the UPS guy deserves love, and then he should go home at the end of the night. If you catch my drift, I mean, the UPS man. I mean, we live in a society now where I would love for society to be like how it is in some make believe fairy tale movie. But the fact of the matter is that if you're making $40,000 a year as a UPS driver, respectfully, you're not going to be able to send your kids to the best private schools. You're not going to be able to provide for your kids at a high level. Your kids are going to, I hate to say it, I taught private schools are terrible. Women now are very hypergamous because they have social media. So now they're looking at men that they didn't have access to 20 years ago. You know, so now you got women walking around who, I hate to say it, look like Celie from The Color Purple, thinking that they deserve an NBA player, and so that's stuck in their brains. So it's too much going on now, unfortunately. So you have to be the sole provider for your wife, you know, and there's expectations on your wife. But I'm very brutal in that standpoint. Like if I had a daughter, I don't have any children, but if I had a daughter, I would if her significant other is working, he needs to be like a managing partner, a managing director of a company, a medical doctor. If he comes home and says, or my daughter comes home and says, Dad, I met an assistant professor at the University of Kentucky. I'm like, well, that nigga ain't coming over here because I know he doesn't make enough money for you. And that's what it's, it sucks, security boss. It sucks, but that's just the truth of the matter now, you know.
So let me say this. I appreciate the fact that you went back and forth with me with that because I
Yeah,
was trying to do that with Bolo just a minute ago and we kind of
yeah,
got distracted. But I
yeah,
just wanted to put forth some of the things or some of the arguments that I'm hearing or
yeah.
that I hear. And you had perfect answers.
Thank
And,
you.
and, um, and you did it so calmly. So I do appreciate you
Thank you.
for being here and
Yeah,
explaining to women,
yeah,
whomever's listening, why traditional and the man being the head is very important, and that is a good way of thinking because we do want our kids to go to the best schools.
absolutely.
Women
Absolutely.
do want to live. Women
Yeah,
do want the protection of the husbands and the coverings of the husbands being there. We do want that. I mean,
yeah,
we may say we don't, but we really do.
yeah. And if
Um,
anybody's out there that is a UPS driver or any
that was
other,
a joke. I don't know that to
yeah,
be true.
well, yeah. I mean, those are respectable jobs. This is America, but I mean, our future is so chaotic now, man. Who knows where gas prices will be at a year from now? Who knows where inflation will be at a year from now? Unfortunately, and like I said, I don't want look. I went to public schools. I went to public and private, and I can tell you, I would never want my kids to go to public schools. That's a absolute nightmare. Absolute.
I
Yeah.
can
So I
agree with
want to
that.
be able. So as a man, I want to be able to provide for my children up until they graduate from medical school, if possible. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Our son said he wanted us to take care of him until he was 30. As long we no, this is what he said exactly. He said as long as he went to school, he felt like we should take care of him. That's
If
what he
he's
said.
majoring in please forgive me for giving you advice on children, but if he's majoring in a STEM that's high paying, like petroleum engineering, obviously something like in a medical doctor realm, and I'm talking about if he wants to be a surgeon, not just a pediatrician, then you should, you should. But please Forgive my intrusion. I'm not a parent.
No. I didn't even take it as an intrusion. I thought it was funny. Me and Mr. Boss was like, "Well, you could go to school for the rest of your life. What do you mean?"
That is true.
So he was like,
But if he's going to school for psychology, no.
No, listen, we said one master's is enough. One master's is enough. So listen, let me read this $2 super chat. Pound for pound, thank you for giving me the $2 super chat. And it says, time to go make a sandwich and see and settle in. Listen, you know what? They're not gonna let you live that down. You know that, Chaotic. Did you say that? Was you the one with the sandwich?
Not only did I say that, people think that I'm trolling. People, I read the comments. I've read thousands of comments within the past. I mean, literally thousands in the past week, and I'm exhausted. You can see how tired I am right now.
That's why he not chaotic, and it's great.
And people think I'm a comedian. People think I'm trolling, and I'm not, man. Listen, security boss, I could tell you come from that. I don't want to say. Okay, let me use. You come from that cloth. I can look at you and tell.
Listen, I was up here talking about a pocketbook a little bit ago. Say what you got to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so the thing of the matter is that what women have to understand is that, listen, man, men, we're very simple and very primal. You bring me a sandwich and a beer, and I can watch Star Trek for the rest of the day, and you leave me alone. Oh, I'm in love with you. But if you're nagging me to death and you want to do this and tell me about gossip, it's like, get away from me. Yeah. So yeah, I guess in my opinion, the only woman that can nag me to death is my mom, and even I can't put up with that most of the time either. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being here, and we definitely appreciate your because listen, all my men here seems to have a consensus on what men should be. So
I gotta say something to Jedi real quick. Is that all right?
Oh, you doing it now? Go ahead. Yeah.
Jedi, you know what I'm about to say to you, man.
You better not say it, because wait a minute. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Watch slow, because you got to remember where you at now.
Yeah, I remember. You made a mistake.
All right.
You made a mistake, Jedi. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, look, we got to fade him to black right now, because he get ready to mess up. You get ready to mess up. You better think about it.
There's some great Sigmas, I will admit. Okay, I digress.
Listen, this is Sigma House. You cannot say anything bad about us. Yes.
Okay.
I told you that the last time you were over here. You can't talk about
a Sigma.
You can't talk about Sigmas. You can't
now,
do that.
I will admit, now you gotta admit, alphas is Sturgeon, Marshall, Martin Luther King. I'll just stop at those two. So yeah, let me just stop.
Anyway, black man, how you doing up there, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, brother Cheeky Banter? How are you this evening, brother?
I'm feeling good, fam. How you feeling?
Good, man. Good. Jedi Mike, how you doing, my little bro?
I'm better, man.
The bishop of the hour, Chaotic Truth. How are you today?
The bishop.
I'm awesome. Man. I'm awesome.
Bishop of the hour.
Yes, sir. And the queen. Oh, Bolo's in the building. The pastor himself. Bolo, how are you today?
I'm extremely awesome, brother. How are you?
Absolutely, man. It is so wonderful to hear your voice. And the queen of this here castle, the security boss herself, looking very lovely today. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know what? You call me queen, people be coming after me now.
We don't give a damn.
At least you not call her a god. We don't call anybody god.
The women that get mad at you for us calling you queen, those are the linebackers for the Cleveland Browns. So we're not worried about them. So listen.
Yes,
yeah. Hut. So I wanted to come on and say a few things. Jedi Mike, you needed that laugh, didn't you? So I wanted to come on and say this. I heard Bolo was saying, I think that everything does come back to what, and especially what Cheeky said. So Bolo and Cheeky together were saying everything comes back to the man. And when we fail, we get a lot of the blowback, right?
Let's slow down for a minute. Slow down. So tell us about failing. What do you mean? What did you fail at? Well, the reason why I'm telling you to slow down, because we need to hear this.
Yeah, there's no room for men, I believe. In our culture, there's no room for mistakes. You're not allowed to be a mistake, and you're thought to be a machine. You can't feel, you can't have an inch of emotion about anything. You just can't be, you can't have an off day without being scrutinized or without being put in a situation where you're so stressed out or depressed and that's why, again, it goes back to the numbers of Black men delete themselves 3 times more than women, right? That's a fact. And so we have a lot of stress. We deal with a lot as men. But I wanted to address something Bolo said about when it comes back to the men. and we have to pick and we have to vet carefully. By a show of hand, for the men only, how many men on this platform, and Bolo, you could just speak since you're not cammed up, how many men on this platform has been heartbroken before? Raise your hand by a show of hand. Right? We've all had some situation where we've been heartbroken before. We made that decision, thought that she was good for us, and she broke our hearts. But I want to add something to that.
Mr. Banter didn't hold his hand up, I don't think.
Mr. Banter, you've never been heartbroken?
No.
Wow. Wish I were you.
Yeah.
So I want to say this. Men, this is for what Bolo was saying. That it's like I said, we're not able to make a mistake. Women can go out and be, and I'm gonna say this very lightly, they can be promiscuous, they can go out and have 8 kids, 4 baby daddies. They can go out and club and leave the oldest kid to raise the rest of the kids while she's out clubbing and making more babies. They can say what they want, do what they want, and then then all the sisters will make a circle around her and pray over her and say, you know what, I've been through that too, honey. We got you. God's got your back. Right?
So what do you think about that? You don't think God has their back?
Oh yeah, God has their back, but I like the love. I like the love that they show the young ladies for being promiscuous. I like the love that they show, the forgiveness, because I've seen this for myself. I've seen it in small churches. I've seen it in big churches. I've seen it in small groups at the churches where women get around women that have cheated on their husbands and have admitted it in the class. I've had an affair for 3 years. My husband didn't do anything wrong. I was curious.
Okay.
Right? Oh, I wish I had videos of this. I'll send it to you, Bolo. There are women that said, I was curious. I slept with him because I'm older. I'm 49 years old. He was 25 years old. And I just felt young again. And then a young man was showing some interest in me. Right?
So, Black man, I'm wanting you to go slow because we need to have some solutions. I hear you. Actually, I feel you right now.
Right.
So when this is going on, if it's not your wife that you can turn to for that, that vulnerability, who are you supposed to get it from? Should be your brothers, meaning not brothers as in your actual brothers, but other men, the pastor at the church. Where can you get this kind of healing, or who can you be vulnerable to as men?
I believe that there's a universal code of cis. And what I mean by that, the acronym is SIS, is suffering in silence. There's a universal code in men that would not allow themselves to go to another man and say, listen, my wife just won't listen to me. I can't be vulnerable with my wife. So what men do, and this is why they delete themselves 3 times more, or they're gone before their wives are. These are just numbers. These are factual numbers. It's because they carry so much, right? They carry a lot, and they're not able to go to another man because they don't want to feel less than a man. By going to another man, saying, I have no control in my house. I can't be vulnerable with my woman. I can't say anything to my woman. And so that goes back to what I wanted to say originally. We can't make a mistake. We can't have a bad day. And according to what my brother Bolo said, is that we have to have perfection in selection. That means we can't make a mistake with the woman that we choose. We can't meet a woman that has imperfections, and then later on in life we find out that she wasn't made perfect by God. I mean, she's not a perfect person. She's not this person that she seems to be. How many men have we seen on panels? Let me slow it down a little bit. How many men have we seen on panels that get on panels that have been married? Or how many men have we sat with? And I've sat with at my church, because the church shows you a lot about in these small groups and marriage classes and singles classes, right? When you're going through these different processes and you sit and you hear the married couples that are sitting together, and the man says, she just won't listen to me. And the wife says, no, I love him, but he a man. I don't need to hear about no man being emotional. He is to provide. I need to be the emotional one. Why does he have to come in and be a crybaby every day? I've heard this in my, I'm looking at it, I'm listening to it. I love him, I've given him children, I would never cheat on him, but his emotions, men don't have those. And so he does not need to come to me with that. He needs to go and deal with that and then be able to come home and be good for his wife and his children. They don't have room to make mistakes. And so we have women that we marry and we love, and 2 years in, something happens, right? She has your child, her body goes through a transformation. She loses herself mentally, she loses herself physically, right? We talk about postpartum depression, we talk about depression, we talk about when a woman's body changes, we talk about when a woman's mind starts to change, right? We talk about those things, but we need to vet early, but we don't prepare for what's coming later. And so I don't think there's perfection in selection. You can vet all day long, but 2 years in, her whole mental state can change. Everything can change. She can become a very unlovable person. And that's why, I think it was you, Bolo, that said it. Maybe not. But that's why I heard someone on the panel say something so eloquent one day. It was you, Bolo. When you say I do, you have to say I do to the woman that's standing before you. And you also have to say I do to all those women and different changes that she's going to become.
Absolutely. Well, let
And so,
me just,
right?
let me say
Go
this.
ahead. Huh?
You said something very poignant that we need to really focus on.
Yes.
The
But
reason
Bolo, before you say it, please don't lose it. I want to say to black men, we're listening, we hear you. So don't think that you're doing all this and saying all this and we're not feeling where you are.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling your vulnerability.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what you're going through, or even if it's you, but
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. So I want Bolo to definitely speak to you about it, and any other men that can be helpful in that area. But you're speaking of wholeness. But Bolo, go ahead. I
Thank
just
you
want to tell him that.
we as men, you're so absolutely right. We're not afforded the latitude that women are afforded in this world, right? Society is a weak excuse for men. We hear all these cliches. We're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to hurt. Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. This is why the village was created, because there was no place where men can go to vent. Men can go and actually have a conversation with other men and talk about the things that men go through. There's a reason why we talk about total anonymity, because, the one thing that we as men have is pride, right? And when we show our faces, we can't be, most of the time, we can't be the true authentic selves that we need to be to get that help. A lot of us men don't have insurance to go get it, to go talk to someone. So the village was created. So I understand everything that you are saying, right? So I don't say that the total responsibility is on the man. Obviously not. However, this is why SB and I talk about slowing it down. Take your time. Don't rush into marriage. Get to know who you are so that once you know who you are as a man, you can properly vet. Doesn't mean that your vetting is going to be 100%. There's nothing 100%. But the one thing that you will connect with this woman, and again, I'm a scriptorial guy. I don't know if everyone here is. You're going to connect in the spirit, right? You guys are going to have an intention, a direction. Now, do you get off track at times? Hell yeah, you do. But once you know that you have a bigger goal, a bigger picture, we get back on track. We get back on that goal. So this is why I'm saying that no matter if she gets 3 raises and makes more bread than me, there's no way in hell that is going to alter my position, because I didn't marry my woman in the flesh. I married her in the spirit. We connected differently. So that doesn't change the trajectory in which we need to do or go and what we need to make things happen. Now, when it comes to men, we are told that we're not supposed to speak. Even when you have parents, they tell the boy to be quiet, don't cry. This trauma starts young.
Yes, very early.
It starts very early.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why the village was created. If you look at my trailer, it's been there and I haven't taken down. The village was created primarily for men, not exclusively, but primarily to men. If you look at the early videos, we only dealt with men. But then we had women coming, children coming, so we had to open it up because there was something that was really missing. And I totally agree with you. As brothers, we can't come to each other and cry, because you're going to look at me as a weak man. You're going to, call Sir Hale and say, Bolo was crying. And I'm the first that'll cry on my channel. I'm the first that cried with a brother that was going to commit suicide. right? To let him know that, yo, Duke, you're not less of a man.
Deletion.
Same way they feel. It takes more for us to get to that breaking point, of course, but we have to let go of that energy because that energy will break down your body and destroy you. There has to be a transference of energy. Any doctor will tell you if you keep that stress in you, it affects the growth of your cells. Some cells shut down and don't even grow correctly and mutate differently. So yeah, I'm a big proponent on brothers need to come together, brothers need to talk to each other, brothers need to hold each other, brothers need to speak to each other in a man-like manner that doesn't show that you're weak. It doesn't show that you're a punk. It doesn't show that you're broken. We got to get rid of that stigma, especially because my thing is, and I'll give it back to you. If I have a broken arm, I go to the doctor. If I have a heart problem, I go to a cardiologist, right? So my point is, if you have a problem with your mind, if you're stressing out, if you're suffering from depression, why wouldn't you go to get help? So we have to break that stigma. That's how strong the stigma is. That even a man knows that he has something, he'd rather go to the bottle. He'd rather go to the drug instead of dealing with his brother who may have the answer. This is why Testimony Friday was created. Why? Because there might be something that I'm gone through that currently, black man, you're about to go through. And that information that I've acquired is so valuable. So now when I give you that information, you know what turns to make and how to move.
Right. And I think where we split at the roadway here is when, well, not us, but I'm saying in general, in these spaces, the very thing is this. The reason I said what I said is because I do have brothers, a brother in particular that is going through something right now similar to this, right? And I'm connected to him through that. And so I'm speaking through him right now. And for him to hear me and say, you just picked wrong. You should have picked right. You should have vetted her. You should have did this. You should have did this. And the man's a good man. He picked. The man chooses not to make her a baby mama. The man chooses not to even sleep with her. He chooses to do the right thing. He's taken the right steps. Everything has been glorious and wonderful. There's been times where there's dating. There's no clouds. There's nothing that's blurry. There's nothing. Everything is sex is not in the way of it. There's no intimacy but hugging and being intimate without sex. There have been dates and dinner and courting, right? And then you get to a milestone and you're getting to a point in your life where you're about to excel, and that ends and you don't know why. And then when men tell my little brother, you picked wrong. You didn't vet right. What is your problem? It's on you. It's all your fault. You should have did better. That will break a man's spirit. That will break him because he knows he did everything he possibly could and it hit him like a storm. Imagine, just imagine this. Men have choices, but women have choices. And if a woman chooses and she sees something else she likes, or she sees something that she don't like, or a woman can change her mind. She's emotional. Some women are not as strong as Security Boss that says, I'm going to be with my man and I'm going to be with him, whether he's up, down, I'm going to be with him, whether he's crippled or not crippled, whether he's broke or not, I'm going to be with him. Women today don't have the same sentiment. And what they do is, I'm in a world right now, I can have sexual freedom. I can have freedoms of my own. I can out earn a man. I can be better than a man. I can feel like I can get the same treatment as one, right? And when they do that, they have options to leave. This is what Aaron O was talking about.
So let me say this, black man. I'm sorry. I
didn't mean the long stroke, but I'm just
listen. I'm hearing you, and I listened to you, and it was one thing that came to me. And I have been at this place before, years before. But what I heard you say is this young man said, "I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, and I've done that, and I've been there before, and I even got a video about it." And I'm gonna tell you what I did. When you get to that point, it's only one thing that you can do. And I suggest you tell, and this is for anybody. The one thing that you can do is submit. You have to submit. And what I mean by submit, you have to let your will go and
Yep.
understand that you're not in control, and let the man who's actually controlling the situation work the situation out, because if she's not the right one, she'll go away.
And
He'll
let me add.
he'll remove her. But if she is the right one, he'll fix it. But as long as he's doing this, and he's doing that, then it may not, let somebody else handle the wheel. And guess what? In that submission is so much freedom and so much relief and so much pleasure in the freedom to know that I've done it. This nigga, listen to what you said. He's done everything he could do. You gotta submit. Go ahead, chaotic.
No,
Uh,
it was
oh, I'm sorry.
chaotic. Let me just say this before you rock, chaotic, please, just to black man, and then I'll
Yes,
let
sir.
you rock.
Yes,
Apologize
sir.
for that.
Go ahead.
Um, what we have to understand, black man, is when we get up on panels and we have conversations, we're speaking in general,
Yeah.
right? So I will never tell any man that I counsel. I'm never going to say it. It depends on the situation, and and it's a very extensive questioning on his end. So if you're saying that what you're saying is true, then it's never going to be, well, it's your fault, brother. It's never going to be a situation like that. So it's a man on man, person to person situation. It's never just saying in general, this is what men, this is the problem that men did. No, we're speaking in general right now. So now if we're going to be specific about your homeboy, I would love to talk to him, but maybe it's something that, maybe he's getting the wrong advice. Maybe there's something going on. There's something that changed the trajectory of their marriage. Something happened. Our job as his brother is to fine comb and find where that situation is so that we can help him fix it. That's our job, to be patient with our brothers. So it's never a situation where I'm just saying to every man, you picked wrong and that's why your shorty is doing this. Never that.
All right, chaotic. Go ahead, sir.
Well, this might go viral.
Uh-oh.
I gotta disagree with Bolo. Now, Bolo could be right, and I could be wrong. But I have not cried as a man ever. Um, I've I've had a cousin who has unfortunately committed suicide. Oh, damn!
Oh,
Deletion.
deletion.
Damn, deleted themselves. I had a friend of mine do it as well 5 years ago. Unfortunately, I've you know what? Okay, I'm trying to say this without I'm not trying to upset anybody. As far as we know, we are alone in the universe. And on this planet, human beings are the superior animal. I don't know if you guys believe we're animals or not, but I believe that. We are the superior animal. And as far as we know, the male of the male human being is superior over the female human being and children. As a man, we have hit the jackpot. If you are a man and you're able bodied, you've hit the jackpot, in my opinion. And this whole idea of men needing to seek psychiatrists now or vent, I don't know where this came from, but I believe it is a part of the feminization of men. Now, I don't want anybody to get their panties in a bunch, as people would say, but men, unfortunately, are not cared for. And that might be a good thing. Nobody cares if a man is on the 54th floor of a building constructing a skyscraper and injures themselves. We are to build. Men are to build and we are to produce. And if there are men who die, we have to keep it pushing. I understand that there are men who go to war and they see horrific things. I can understand. I've never been to war, and I guess it's easier for me to say these things, but I can understand a man seeing horrific things in combat. I can understand PTSD. But if you are a man and you have not gone to war, if you certainly live in America, you have the opportunity to be anything you want, and you have the opportunity to be dominion over everything around you. You have to pick the right woman. And if something goes wrong, it's your fault because you have mismanaged your life. If your career goes wrong, you have mismanaged your career. If your business goes wrong as you start, you've mismanaged it. It's up for you to correct it and keep it pushing. Putting your feet on the couch and talking to your friend as a man, it may sound good in theory, but at the end of the day, they are still going to look at you like you're weak. Now, I am speaking from my perspective. I could be wrong, but being vulnerable as a man is a sign of. I'm sorry. What is that, security boss? You want me to?
I want you to keep going.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying giving us continue to give us a thumbs up without interrupting you, but I did it anyway. So go ahead.
So the idea of me being 37 and going to my best friend, and I'm talking about my real best friend, and sitting on his couch with my feet up and talking to him. Now, I'm not saying men do that when they vent, but that's what it feels like. Oh man, my job, my girl, my wife. It's weak, in my opinion. As a man, you have to push through everything. And if you are alive and you're able to work and build, and if you're young, especially in America, man, there is really nothing that you should be sad about because there are billions of women on the planet, there are hundreds of millions of women in the country, and if something were to go wrong,
Something's wrong with your
Something wrong with your
audio.
sound, your audio.
my
See,
audio,
yeah,
Yeah.
see if we
Yeah, you gotta
connect.
get. Yeah, something happened.
okay, am I good now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you
Okay.
go.
If something were to go wrong with your wife or your girlfriend, you got to move forward. Yeah, you could reflect on it for a couple of minutes. I've done that before recently. About a couple of years, well, 5 years ago, I was with a girl who was not on my level, you know, and it didn't work out. And I thought about it for 2 or 3 minutes and I kept it pushing because that's what men do. I didn't vent or talk about, well, I gave her a chance by being with a person like me and trying to boost my ego. No, I just kept it pushing. And you would be surprised at the respect you get as a man when you brush things off your shoulder like that from the people around you. Oh man, you were just with her and now you're not, and you will get so much respect as a man when you do things like that. Or if you lose a job or if you lose a contract and you just say, you know what, I lost that. I was about to say $1 million contract. I would be fronting, but I'm using this as an example. I lost that contract, but I'm gonna keep it pushing, and people will respect you a little bit more if they say, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to work 10 times harder. And that's what you have to do as a man. Now, I don't really talk about this, but in the spirit of the Divine Nine that's representing on the panel, when you pledge, I'm telling you, man, you go through something that drastically transforms your outlook on life. Now, is everybody in the Divine Nine like me or like Jedi or security? Are you a Divine? You never mentioned if you were, right?
No, I'm not. My husband.
With your husband.
Mhm.
I'm not saying all of us are like this, but when you go through a process, your mindset is just totally different. And the minutia of life, it doesn't affect you as someone who does not go through a process. And on top of that, I was already like this before I went through my process as well. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you for that. Cheeky, you're next. Sir, do you have anything to add to this? What do you think?
Yeah. I think
Let me say
chaos.
something before you get started, though.
Go
I
ahead.
noticed that you were the only person, the only man on the panel that did not raise his hand when Black man talked about being brokenhearted.
Right.
And I noticed the one thing that you have, or that you, I think I think I'm gonna go on a limb and say this. I think the one thing that is different about you is that you're saving yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still a virgin. All right.
And this goes to show you how powerful sex is.
Well, I don't even think that's the case.
Ooh.
I I don't for sex for men is very different. That's not to say that there's no emotional aspect to sex because I have seen men that have lost their virginity and then are broken hearted because she played him.
Well, I think
'Cause
that's what they're saying.
well, I don't know if that's the case. I think I think when men say brokenhearted, men love differently than women. I actually think men's love is stronger and harder than women's love is. I think
I can.
men's love is more tangible. Men's love is more measurable. Men's love is more um, direct, and placed. Um, there's a lot more trust placed in men's love than there is in women's love. So when a man experiences heartbreak, I think he's experiencing the betrayal of somebody who he thought would be faithful to him. M-
Absolutely.
So whenever men say heartbreak, they don't mean it in this, the same way that women do. Like I think women can break up and be okay within the next couple of weeks because they're already emotional. It takes a lot for men to be emotionally attached to somebody, right? Like we're all saying, it's a feat for that to happen, and for a man to experience that level of vulnerability or connection with somebody intentionally or accidentally, whichever one comes first, um, it speaks a lot. The same way that women view their sexual um, purity is the same way men view their emotional purity in a sense, right? So the same way women are like, no, I don't want to give my body, and no, I don't want to do these things because I don't want to be looked at as a hoe. Well, no, I don't want to give you my emotions. No, I'm not trying to show you like I really care about you because I'm not trying to look like a sucker. And trust me, it's a lot easier for women to do that because they live within the realms of their emotions. But you just heard what chaotic said. we
Yeah.
just
He
you
said,
you see
brush
what
it
I'm
off.
saying?
Yeah. So listen, before you complete your thought,
Yeah.
we're going to give a shout out to the lead attorney. He says, salute to
Yes,
us.
sir.
Hey, lead, how are you? Thank you for visiting. And also, guys, when you're coming into the live, make sure you're giving us a thumbs up, and I appreciate that. But you're right, Cheeky. But you got the example of another man right below you that
Right.
says, "I'm giving out my emotions, and I'm dismissive. I'm walking away." How long you say chaotic? How long can you ponder
Couple
on it?
minutes.
I mean, honestly, and I'm not trying to be funny here.
No, we're not
If
laughing.
if you as a man are sitting there for 30 minutes and wondering about why she leave me or why my business fail, that will eat you alive, man. And you have to literally be in it. You got to be willing to walk away from certain things within minutes. You know, um, the only thing that you should never walk away from, in my opinion, is your children. Other than that, hey, listen, if your wife, if you catch her doing some of the things that were mentioned, hey, that's that. That's that. Because obviously, but other than that, you gotta be able to walk away within minutes, 5 minutes at that, and
But
you can't go to your friend.
the, the pushback on
Mm-mm.
that chaotic is, you
Hmm.
know, fortunate for you, you have those coping mechanisms where you're able to figure it out, on your
Hmm.
own. You don't need help with no man or no person, and you're able to keep it pushing.
Hmm.
Everyone is not able to do that. Everyone doesn't have that background. And when we're looking at PTSD, it's not a military disease.
Right.
PSD can happen with someone seeing something happen. It's not a military disease. So PTSD has been thought to be a military disease. But you have children. I did a show where, you know, when you look at some of these hoods in LA, they're
Mm.
I was
worse
just
than Fallujah, my G. You look at these men that go and women that, thank them for their service that go over to overseas and fight and they come back, not the same person. You have these young men, these young babies
uh-oh.
Bolo, you losing us.
Sound like Wally.
Can't hear
right
you.
in the head.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
yeah,
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 get back.
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yeah.
You have these young men that see their homeboys get shot in the head right in front of them. They don't have no background. They haven't been trained to hold on. They haven't been trained to understand what they're seeing. They're young children. They don't even know what life is. And they continue with that dysfunction, that view in their mind. So not everyone is capable. Not everyone has those coping mechanisms, especially if they're brought up in the dysfunction of how, we look at the black family is. Single parent, a poor environment. So there's a lot of things that's coupled on top to where these children get really
they get really hurt mentally, and they go through a trauma. So to say that someone is weak because they can't walk away from something in 5 minutes, or because they've been hurt, we can't really say that with a broad stroke, because not everyone was brought up with your background.
So, Cheeky, were you done with your comment?
Um, yeah, I was just going to just state that there's just a difference between two people, right? And I think, ironically enough, I handle majority of my situations very similar to what Chaotic described. But at the same time, if I look at both of us, we both have two-parent homes and a father, and I think that's the privilege of having a father in the home is emotional regulation as well as
Mm.
emotional fortitude, which is lacking in the community because of the single mother rate. Um, and one thing that he did say that I disagree with, just based off of I think a fact, was if you live in America, then you have nothing to complain about. Well, I don't want to misquote the man, but I was getting ready to touch on it too because Bolo touched on it. Just 2 days ago, somebody in Atlanta on Cleveland Avenue just got shot in the head. Security guard got out the car.
Mhm.
Nobody unprovoked, just shot and robbed. But to me, I was like, yeah, like what's the problem? But when I reflect on it, I was like, that's the problem. The fact that I just go, yeah, right. I mean, me being from, the east side of Atlanta is just like, yeah, he got robbed. That's just he got robbed. And you got a homeless dude who watched it. And if you know anything about Wesley Chapel, homeless people everywhere. So it's like, this sounds normal. But that's the that
That's the
that
problem.
right. And so
Yeah.
for
So you're
somebody who
you're numb to it now. Is that what you're saying? Or it's
to a certain
regular, it's
yeah,
commonplace?
it's like to a certain extent, it's not like I just grew up in the hood because I did, but it's different when you have parents. It's different when you progress. Like my dad started somewhere, and I saw him grow as a man, and he taught me while growing. So I'm able to comprehend and have a different viewpoint in life. But I can be empathetic to someone who's trying to understand and comprehend some of the experiences that they've had, right? And I don't view them as weak; I just view them as human, right? But chaotic, automatically, I could tell our viewpoints are different. He thinks we're
Yeah.
animals; I think we're human. It's two different things. So
So listen, this is an awesome time to have the money line song, and I have a super chat here from Mr. Neuro, and I thank you so much for your $10 super chat. It was so timely, and y'all know what to do when the money line come on. So Kate, I to go on and stretch your chest, breathe a little bit. Bolo, I can't see you. Black man, I don't know you. I fade to black. Chica, you know what to do, and Jedi, come on, money line. Let it flow, y'all. Let it flow.
Going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine. Going up, need no decline.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. Chaotic. Go ahead, sir.
So, um, in college, many years ago, actually decades ago for me, I dated, and I say this all the time, I dated two girls from Rwanda. Now, if anybody is not aware, 28 years ago in Rwanda, every day in the month of April, there were massacres that were taking place all on the countryside. So the Hutu extremists were killing Tutsis day in, day out.
Deleting,
They
deleting.
were,
Delete it. Yeah,
oh,
try to.
no, delete. Okay, damn. They were
I got your
deleting.
security ball.
Thanks. They were deleting Hutu sympathizers that sympathize with the Tutsis, etc.
Five joined.
These girls that I've dated, one of the girls told me one of the most horrific stories imaginable. She said that she hid in a attic or whatever in the room in the house and witnessed on the outside her family deleted. It was the family members. The other girl was hid and didn't see any of it, but she could hear certain things and the reason why I'm telling this story is that in America we think America is very violent. There are places in the world that are completely lawless. And at that time,
Hmm.
almost 30 years ago, Rwanda was absolutely lawless. The government collapsed. There were minimal resources being imported into the country. And for 30 something days, these people uh, lived through the worst um, deletion in the last 30 years of the people. These girls never cried to me, and these girls were the best students at the school. And I say all that to say that, not everybody, not every black person in America witnesses the things that Bolo was talking about. A lot of black people that I've encountered, they go through relationship problems and they're just depressed, or they go through job problems and they're depressed and they think they need to vent. Now, I understand somebody going through what Cheeky just observed. I can see that, obviously, but everybody's not seeing those things. And the fact of the matter is, I gotta say this as a man. Look, I'm gonna bring it home real quick, security boss. Before Western society, human beings lived pretty. I mean, they were pretty much absolutely primitive, and there were states or city states that were lawless. There were tribes that were lawless. And they probably, and I don't know what they witnessed because I wasn't born back then, but I can only imagine the atrocities that went on without legal systems, court systems, police, etc. And these people somehow built society. I mean, we're here, right? So, and it's weird because we live in a civilized civilization compared to our ancient ancestors in Africa. If you're white, compared to the ancient ancestors in Europe, and I just found it fascinating that now all of this mental health thing is coming about, but you don't really hear about these things during the bubonic plague in Europe, or in ancient Africa. I'm pretty sure the ancient Egyptians, they didn't have unions and they didn't have mental health counselors. You know, and I'm just saying they did. The ancient Egyptians did have readily available water supply while they were getting beat building the pyramids, I guess. And
I
I'm
would.
pretty sure the Roman slaves didn't have readily available resources when they were being forced to build the Colosseum of Rome and the aqueducts and so I, my opinion is just totally different on this situation. But obviously, if you witness certain things like that in the hood, yeah, but everybody's not witnessing that. That's all I want to say.
Go
Right.
ahead, Chicky.
Again, it's just a difference of
Yeah,
perspective with
absolutely.
chaotic truth. Like he's not. I can't say what he's saying is wrong in the sense of how he views the world. His worldview is his, which it's hard to argument things like that, right? The only thing I would say, maybe that would be a little bit more factual behind what he was saying was historical elements, right? The Roman Empire was known for its philosophical viewpoints and how to understand humanity and the man's mind. That's where Aristotle and other great philosophers came from or are known for today because we live in a more Greek, minded philosophy in today's time, at least in Western civilization. Even with them, Marcus Aurelius, all of these things, these people look into the complexities of humanity and was able to understand that um, we're going through an experience that causes one of that causes us to view life differently, and they've taken the time to try to understand it. And I think, like he's saying, we live in a Western society where those things are more developed, so we have more information and more studies to show how these events affect people. But it was also trying to be done as well as in the Roman Empire. It was more primitive, so the technology, of course, is not the same as ours. And with more information is more understanding, comes more understanding and more knowledge. But um, and I'm not coming at chaotic when I say this, but he seems to have a more simplistic view and a more um linear view, which I think is necessary because you need people like that within your group or community, whatever, right? But there are people who've always been who always seen things more complex, and they've always been able to articulate those things because even There's a slave who was a Muslim slave, and he wrote his thoughts in a book while he was a slave. And I'll pull up the video. I'm gonna actually do a video on it because I thought it was important. But his video, his book broke down what was going on and how he felt
Mm.
as a slave, right? And so the what we're talking about is not abnormal or new to humanity. It's just been expressed and developed and studied in a way that hasn't been done before, simply because technology has advanced to that point, right? To think that humans have not thought beyond how does this affect me or why do I feel this way, it's just not true, because people have been praised for it. Now the idea of stoicism didn't come from an animal. It came from a man who thought about his life and how to handle people talking to him, and how to handle his emotions in regards to the outcomes he can do based off of how he thinks. So I just think that chaotic truth's mindset is a little bit, or his viewpoint on this particular topic is simplistic. I think he's a complex man in and of itself, but how he views his emotions and how he regulates them is definitely simplistic and works for him. So I can't get mad at it, and I can't say he's wrong. I just understand it because I look at things in a total view, right? So I understand the brother. I think he's got a point. I just don't always agree with wholeheartedly, all the way.
Cheeky. Make sure you put your channel in the back chat so we can put it out.
Yeah.
And
say this.
yeah, go ahead.
It's like what chaotic says and what Cheeky is saying is absolutely, there's validity to it, right? Everyone hasn't seen the atrocities that we speak about, right? But these things happen in different forms, right? So we're not speaking for those. I was raised in a 2-parent home. So again, we have an advantage to those that weren't, right? There's a balance to those that didn't have that. However, it's like if you take 2 bottles and you let both of them go. One smashes into pieces, the other breaks into a weapon. And those 2 bottles can be people. They can have the same situation. One breaks a person totally, the other sharpens a person. So every person reacts to something differently. Just like Cheeky said, the perspective and the context to people are different. So I may see something and Chaotic may see something, Cheeky may see something. We may get 3 different perspectives on it. Doesn't mean anyone is wrong. It just means that your bring up and your experiences kind of dictates how you kind of see things. So the empathy that Cheeky was talking about is where it's so important to empathize, to understand what that person is going through. That's where that cliche comes in, walk a mile in my shoe, so that you can understand my perspective instead of just seeing it from your perspective.
All right, thank you, Bolo. Let me just share this with the live now. The reason why we're here is because my brother, black man up there, brought a scenario to the platform, and in that scenario, he spoke of a man that needed help. Am I right about that, black man? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I'm muted because I want no background noise, but absolutely.
And in him speaking to that man needing help, it was directly related, and we hadn't gotten this far, but it was directly related to him being into a marriage relationship with a woman. And this is how we went down this path of these men here, all these men. 2 of them have just come, but the other men are helping each other, are giving advice to men on how they can become stronger men on their purpose and possibly not have to deal with being broken in any way behind a woman. Would y'all say that's what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how we got here, Big Fat Bull. That's how we got here. But it all makes sense because we move the way the energy moves. And if the energy needed to take us down this road to figure out what we needed to say to a black man for him to take back to his brother, or for Cheeky and Chaotic to be on the same page, and for Chaotic to tell us more about who he is, so we can understand him, that's what we needed to do.
Yeah, there's a reason for everything.
We've seen one side of Chaotic. We need to see the other side. And everybody needs to see it. And that's what I'm here for, because the man does have strong points. And guess what? He's not chaotic right now. He's CT Reacts.
He's tired. That's what he is.
When you come into the live, make sure you're giving us a thumbs up, and I appreciate it so much. And y'all keep listening, keep hearing. It all makes sense. It all has something. We're speaking to somebody. It may not be you, but it is for somebody, because it wasn't my plan. But guess what? If a man needs help, I'm there for you, because we need y'all to lead, and we need y'all to be strong leaders. And Bolo's here in the middle of the day. And guess what? We out here in the middle of the day on a Saturday. So for whatever reason we got here, we're here, and we're going to walk it out until we get back to wherever we need to be. And let's get those those likes up, guys. I don't know how many people right now. It says we got 80 people in here. And I don't know what my like. Listen, come on. I need about 10 more likes. And if you haven't done that and haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you go to Security Boss Unsolicited and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you all. Listen, Black Man Unfiltered, he's here. CT Reacts, go to his channel. Cheeky, I do not have yours. Go ahead and shout out your channel. And then we got Jada Mike. Go ahead and
Yeah,
do that.
I put in the back chat, but if you just type in Cheeky Banner, it literally comes
Up. All right.
Yeah.
You got several channels here that we need you to follow. And Bolo, we've been putting yours in the link the whole time, the chat. So this is a lot of people that you can follow. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. But let's get those likes up for now. Let's get those likes up. And this is some good conversation, guys. I'm all about these men. So
And
I just wanted to say,
I'm all about these men. You know.
and another thing,
oh my bad, Cheeky. I'm sorry.
yeah, just I real quick, chaotic. I know you become a public enemy number one and the villain of most streams, but I do appreciate your intellect, right, as a man, and I appreciate you as well, Black Man Unfiltered, Jedi Mike, and Bolo. I think the fact that we're able to articulate to as best as we can what we think and how we perceive the world is important, especially now where men don't necessarily have the freedom to do that, or is just demonized when done. So although I may not agree with Chaotic's approach in everything that he may do in his messaging, I do appreciate the intellect that comes with the brother. All right, I can chew the meat, spit the bones, and understand he's an intellectual man, right? And I respect that. And the same thing applies with Black Man Jedi Mike. And he, I think I've been on one panel with you, fam. You give me the same vibe as Ricky. He give me like the same vibe as Ricky, man. But I appreciate you guys. I do have to go though.
Thank you, Cheeky.
Because my girl here and we got to spend some time together and whatnot. That part.
Man, you know what you need to do. Go make love. Go make love to that woman.
It's one of them things where you just like that may not. You got to meet her where like I'm not that kind of guy. I don't care for all of that. Like I can play video games and be left alone, or I can do something fun. But you got to compromise a little bit.
And she probably out here using words on you, like using your last name. Listen, get away from that banter and come in here.
You're the loser. She does that loser stuff. See y'all.
Yeah, go make love to that woman, baby. Go make love to her.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm not. Hey,
you
already know what's up, security boss. Bye.
Run, Cheeky, run.
Oh, my bad.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for being here.
Hey,
Mail, it's your time. And then Hank, thank you for being here. And hello. And Mail, I did not speak to you also, but hello, Mail, and it's your time. Go ahead, sir. Tell us what you think. Mail?
Oh, sorry. How you doing?
I'm good. Doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Hey, get closer to the mic, my guy.
You hear me clear?
Yeah, it sounds like you're far away. Sound like you're doing push-ups with a V8 in your hand or something.
Oh, my goodness.
Let me tell you. Okay.
Maybe we're gonna go to Hink while you get that together, okay?
Yeah, go to him.
Okay. Hink, how you doing, sir?
I'm great, ma'am. How about yourself?
We're doing well. You been listening?
I caught the back end of it. I haven't heard the whole stream. I just got back from my son's basketball game, so I just caught the back end of it. So I apologize if I didn't get the whole gist of the conversation. But I was reading, the title of your live. So 50-50 man and negotiating with modern women. Is that what we talked about now?
Well, we started out like that. Well, what we're saying is that women want to renegotiate. Do men entertain that? That's, and then we kind of went to a different direction because we want to make sure our men stay empowered and they're healthy and have a place excuse me, where they can voice their concerns. So we kind of went that direction, but we're back. So go ahead and tell us what you think.
I mean, do they really want to negotiate, or do
You
they
know,
want us to compromise even more? Is that what you're willing to do? Because negotiate, you got to give and take a little bit, and
Uh,
I don't feel like it's always about that, man.
Yeah, it's compromise a
I
little more,
really
my
don't.
brother. It's compromise a little bit
Okay,
more.
okay. Now the truth started to come out.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't think men should compromise.
okay.
I really don't, because I think we compromise way too much. I think we need to stand our ground, hold tight. Eventually, it's going to get old for them,
Yeah.
and you have to come to the table with some more options for us. You know, a better bargaining tool. You got to come with more than just I love you down and I cook for you. I need more than that. And I don't want and think about it. I don't want to be a temporary thing. You know, and that's another thing. Do it for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden, you get a little age on you, and you want to slack off. No, we can't do that. Or when I do put the ring on it, all of a sudden, you want to not do it as much and tell me you'll be all right. Mm-mm. I'm not with that either.
Oh yeah, come on, Doc. You preaching today.
Yeah.
So, I feel like, mm-mm. Now, men, stand your ground. Protect yourself, but stand your ground at all times. It's gonna come. I feel like some of these ladies are willing to do it and ready to do it, but for the most part, like you're talking about the modern women, no, I don't think they are. They too busy having fun, enjoying life, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Enjoy life, but you can still do what you need to do to make yourself in a position to be a good wife.
Yeah, you got
And
to
if you're
do it.
not willing on doing it, somebody will.
Right. Exactly.
You know what? I found pleasure in being a wife and enjoying my life with my companion, my husband. So when you say that with women enjoying their life, I don't know how they get so much enjoyment out of hanging out with a whole bunch of screaming women. But hey, if it works for them, let it work.
You know what?
Security boss say, I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
No. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you know what? From a biblical perspective, there in the world today, they say there's two type of simps. There's a good simp and there's a bad one. Watch this, Bolo. Watch this. I'm gonna travel down this road. Just follow behind me real close. So the good simp is the simp that takes care of his woman, does what he needs to do, goes to work every day. She's covered, she's loved, she's adored. And men see that and become jealous of that and say, you know what, he's a simp. Then there's a bad simp. The bad simp is the guy that does all the things the good simp does, but it's not reciprocated. The woman talks to him any kind of way, she treats him any kind of way, she drags him, she says bad things to him. No matter what he does for her, she still got a mouth. Now, we're all Bible people. I know Bolo is a scriptural guy. So Bolo, in guys out there that are listening, if you go, the Bible in the book of Proverbs, it's a chapter there about good simps and bad simps. And if you go there, you go to Proverbs 5. Bolo, you're probably familiar with that passage of scripture. You go to Proverbs 5 and you start at verse 1. I just want to read the first one, sir. Real quick, security boss. This is what it says. It says, my son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen carefully to my wise counsel. This is the elder talking to his sons now. Then you will show discernment, and your lips will express that what you have learned. For the lips of an immoral woman are as sweet as honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is as bitter as poison, and as dangerous as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down in death. Her steps leads you straight to the grave. For she cares nothing about your path in life. She staggers down crooked trails and doesn't even realize it. See now, my sons, listen to me. Never stray away from what I'm about to say. Stay away from her. Don't even let her get near the door of your house. If you do, you will lose your honor, and you will become a public disgrace. You will be held up. Hold on, it says here, you will have lack of self-control because of this woman. and you will have great foolishness. That's just the first 3 verses, and it's 23 of them.
Okay,
Somebody
but
should have sent that scripture to Will Smith.
Guess what, black man? That's exactly what Bolo said to you in the very beginning. He said the one word that we need to pay close attention to is immoral woman.
Yes. Okay, that's what made me go there, Bolo. That's what made me go there, Bolo. If you listen,
Bolo, I don't know where he gone.
Yeah.
He left.
He made me think about Proverbs 5.
Okay, but immoral. Listen, y'all have to be able to identify what that looks like.
Yep. Oh, there you go.
Bolo, I hope you heard all that.
I did hear it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so beauty in what you just read comes from me as a young man, right? And I'm not young, but hypothetically speaking, me as a young man getting this from the OGs.
Yep.
The OGs are telling me the stories. The OGs are giving me the game, giving me what's up, giving me the scoop, right? They're telling me what the deal is. So now, on top of that, I'm doing the math on myself and understanding what my value is and what my worth is. So now when I go, because the only way I can find a woman like that and know that she's a woman like that is from conversing with her. Right? Checking her, watching her, looking at her body motions, looking at the way she speaks, looking at the way she holds herself. And then I walk away. But how many men are strong enough to sit there and look at a banging shorty that has all those attributes that you just read and are able to walk away if she's throwing it at them? That's the problem that we're falling into. That's the problem. You see what Chaotic talked about, being able to walk away in a few seconds, a few minutes? That's what we don't have, that type of discipline as a whole, and we fall victim to it.
Mm-hmm.
These chicks are, I forget the basketball chick that got the young man that just got into the game pregnant. They're grabbing these young dudes that don't have that fatherly figure, that don't have that.
You're talking about Brittany Griner.
Yes, they don't have that. That young man don't have that fatherly figure in his life. Dude, stay away from this type of shorty. What we need to do is get your money. So that's important.
Now, Bolo, if I can,
no, I was just, you know what, Jedi, I'm sorry. You went to black and I hadn't even realized that you haven't talked in a while. Did you have anything you want to add, Jedi, before we move on?
So no, I'm good. I'm good.
You good? You sure? Okay. All right. Well, if you do, I didn't realize we had missed you for so long. So is it was that male or was that black man? Or was it both?
That was Hink.
Hink. Oh,
yeah. Yes, ma'am. Well, did Mel want to say something?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say something real fast. I'm going to get it in there. There's nothing wrong with simping for your wife, because you ain't simping when you dealing with your wife.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with being a simp for your wife. I mean, to me, that's what you should be doing. Simping for your wife. I don't simp for the average chick. I mean, when I'm saying average, I mean the chick that I'm not married to, I'm just dating. I'm not simping for you. I'm not going to give you anything special. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not going to go hard for you like that. But if you my wife, I'm going to go to the ends of earth for you.
So
as long as you right.
How do you make that transition though? How do you make that transition from I mean, I don't these words simping. I get what they're saying. I get what we're saying. And the scripture is talking about an immoral woman. How do you make that transition from, okay, now this is someone that I might can entertain going to that next level with, far as a relationship, possibly a marriage? How do you make the transition though? How do you know when this is okay?
Well, each individual has their own standards and what they deem is a wife type material.
Okay.
And I as far as for me, as long as that woman is there for me, she's doing what the things that I requested or I asked of her, I look for. And as far as being a wife, and she has qualities, then I'm gonna do what I have to do to make an honest woman out of. I'm born in '75, so we know what that means when you say you're gonna make an honest woman out of an individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna give her my last name. I'm gonna bless her with my last name, because giving you my last name is a blessing.
You're right.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready to take on whatever you want.
Okay.
And you know what?
You know,
Hank, you know what? Can I say real quick, man? I swear, I promise. I just want to stir the gumbo just a little bit.
Hey, y'all just so disrespectful. Y'all just talking all over me. I'm sorry, man. I did too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mel. I'm sorry. I did want to add this, and then Mel, you can cook. I promise. So I did want to add this context as well because I know Bolo's still listening. It says here. I want to finish this verse up right here because this is amazing. It says here, if you only had not ignored all the warning signs from your teachers, why didn't I pay attention to the people who instructed me? I have come to the brink of an utter ruin, and now I must face public disgrace. Now watch this. Verse 15 says, drink water from your own well. Share your love only with your wife. Why spill? This is important, guys. Listen real close, guys. Why spill the water of your springs in the streets, having sex with just anyone? You should reserve it for yourselves. Never share it with strangers. Now watch this. Let your wife be a fountain of blessings for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. She is a loving deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast satisfy you always. May you always be captivated by her love. Why be captivated, my son, by an immoral woman or fondle the breasts of promiscuous women?
You know something? I'm gonna tell y'all something funny. We used to have these couple ministry, and every time we get in a couples ministry, we had one brother. He always wanted to read that part about the breast. You remember how he always wanted to read the part about the breast. We could never get him off of that the breast. Every time he said, let's read this part right here. He would love that part. But listen, there's a young man here. His name is Donald, and I'm gonna read his comment. I want to know what y'all think about this. His comment probably doesn't float at all now since he's heard that. But let me read what he had to say. It's Donald what was it at? Right here. Donald really having. I can't see. That's not the one. Well, yeah, you can
speak on that.
Good, but you should never simp. He said you should. That was the worst advice ever. You shouldn't even simp for your wife. Now,
yeah, I want to. Is the problem right now and everything? You know, put all these different nuances to the word simp from what it originally meant, and I ain't simping for no woman either too. But if you're showing appreciation towards a woman, you're treating her right, and she's returning it the way you want to, reciprocating back your affections. Say, for example, like Russell Wilson and Ciara, they feeding off each other. Yes, he's expressed his love to her very openly and stuff, but she's still returning his affection towards her back to him. That's not simping. That's not simping. I think you shouldn't be using the word simping in that terms. You might want to question certain things. You know, you might disagree with how he does it, but reality and everything, he's getting stuff in return and stuff.
now simping is when you do nice things and you don't get return, and you know you're not going to get it, right?
Exactly. That's what really a simp is. A simp is someone that is reciprocating or showing affection towards a woman that don't want him.
Yeah, someone that's been a great.
He even puts his own belief aside that he never really usually would do just to please a woman that don't want him, don't reciprocate him back, and you know, and she
Will Smith.
Exactly. That's a perfect example and stuff like that. Yeah, like he's definitely sick.
Like, see, the definition of change in our time, security boss compared to now, they done switched the game up. That's not what it meant back in my day, but
they done switched it all the way up on most
things. Yeah, they have. So when I say it means something different, but now you new cats, y'all saying something means different. So if it's what you saying, yeah, I understand. And if you're not getting no love or no affection or no appreciation back in return, hell no, you shouldn't do it. But like I said,
I might be
the word simple is different. The simple definition changed on me, so I need to catch up with the time. So I apologize.
Listen, we already
like the original definition is someone that's putting on
idolizing mediocre punani.
Telling these stuff that he will usually never do for a woman that's not reciprocating back, and he knows it. Like, yeah, that's the original definition of it. Yeah, like
when you
see a lot of these new age cats, just like you're saying, they putting different nuance to it, and black man was pointing out how they want to use it as sometimes even a shaming tactic for certain dudes that's actually succeeding in relations, but they don't feel like it's in their way or they're jealous. and stuff like that. And
What?
because
But
like we see with Russell with Sierra, right? And then you see Sierra like do certain things, that a lot of men don't agree with. But Russell ain't complaining. He ain't complaining. He actually loved that about her.
But come on, Mel, come on. Are you married?
Huh?
Are you married, Mel?
no, listen,
I just
listen.
want to.
I'm with
You
him
want
on
to do
this one.
this? I
Listen,
mean,
in our day, simping was basically being a man, being like, opening doors, being nice, bringing flowers, things of that nature. And it was always reciprocated. It was just to show, we used to call him, what we used to say, he was, what's the word? Charming, you know, charming guy. He
Mhm.
he was that brother. I mean, that's what it was. It was not a negative per se. Actually, the
Yeah.
simp got all the girls because he knew what to do. But now it's like not reciprocated. I don't even get that part. Why would somebody even
Yeah.
do it if it's not reciprocated? So
Yeah.
that's different. We're in a
Yeah.
different
The
time.
game's been. Yes, ma'am. The game's definitely been flipped on this one, security boss. Like I said, the def, definition you just gave, or the example you just gave, that's what I was known as being a man that did, that, and like you said, got the same in return.
Yeah.
She brought the lunch to the workplace. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? She made sure everything was everything, and she was sipping and doing things for him. Well, let me stop saying the word sipping there, because way y'all make it sound, it's all the way bad now. God damn.
Yeah, and then the young lady just said being chivalrous. That's right. That's how it was. Because you
Yeah.
know what, the man that
That's
was
not a simp. Being sure is not a simp.
that's
Oh,
not one.
talking about her on the king ship right there. Ain't that he, man?
Yeah, that's E man.
Oh
That's
Lord.
king
Hey,
of the
hey,
ship. That's my dog, dog.
so let me say this. You know where it gets
What's up,
confusing?
E, man?
You know where it gets confusing for Christians, people that believe that are believers. That we say in the case, and I'm gonna be devil's advocate here. When we say Will Smith is a simp, when you see the word simp, you see a picture of Will Smith beside it because he's willing to stay in a marriage or with a woman that is not reciprocating. But what it gets confusing and it gets cloudy at, we call him that. But as believers, we take a vow that says good times, bad times.
Well,
See,
not
if you,
everybody thinks Will Smith is a simp. I have a totally different way of thinking. I think it's marriage.
right.
So I mean,
Yeah, I mean, that's where it gets a little cloudy. I mean, on one end, we're saying we support the vows. On the other end, we're saying he's a simp because he's doing what the vows say do. Where are we at?
and you don't know the whole story.
Yep. So
We probably need to stop, right?
Man, to me, I just think Will's dealing with some emotional abuse, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And I think it needs to be addressed.
Yeah, but guess
I
what?
mean,
You don't know
Might be a
what
little bit
Will
of
is given though. See, let me say we're gonna talk about Will in about 2 seconds.
it's
Will
true.
and
It's true.
Jada have opened their life up to an open marriage, right? And
No,
I need
Jada
y'all to think
opened their life up.
okay, he agreed, right? Did he agree or no?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No,
He
for them
did.
to go public with all that.
No. I mean open as
Will.
in they're gonna be able to have different partners sexually within it in their marriage.
If you go read the book, Will never in his book he said that's the lifestyle she wanted.
She
Okay.
wanted. He agreed to it.
I'm saying, did he agree to it?
He still agreed to it.
To be
Okay.
with her.
Her.
So this is the point I'm trying to make. When you open your life up to that, whether you brought it to the table or you agreed, I need y'all to understand. I need y'all to slow down and think about this. What is the expectation that you all should have from them? What really is it? Think about it. And is it being a marriage? What expectation should we have from Will and Jada from that point on? Honestly, what do you want from them? You want them to shut up? You want them to come give you some good old advice on how to be married? What is it? What do we want? I don't have any expectations from them. Whatever they do is what they do, because when you open yourself up like that, you're allowing any and everything to all different energies to come into your relationship and run it.
Yep.
So we should just be like, oh, they doing that? Okay. And just keep on going. It shouldn't be anything that surprises us.
And what's the older couple that were doing it before Will and Jada? Ozzy Davis and
Ozzy Davis and Ruby D. But see,
Yeah,
they
got
did it. They did it temporarily.
Yeah.
But also too, they had a reason why they did it, and then they stopped and stuff. There's a difference between how they handle it, and I've been around these communities also too. I participate in their parties. They follow certain rules they make for each other, and that's something that Will and Jada is not doing, especially Jada's part. She's opening her mouth too much.
So, Mel, are you saying you were a swinger?
I've been I've been to swinging parties. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go back. Yeah, I'll go back. Oh, I was a single
Yeah,
man in the
He put
parties.
that.
Yes,
He put
Male,
that pineapple out there. He put that pineapple
factual.
out there.
You want to be open about this or
but
not?
Male, you were not married. You weren't a married swinger though. That's a
No,
different.
I was not married. I was a single man back to participant, going to these parties, these events, and
Oh, you
stuff.
was just
Oh,
having
I
you
know
just
about that lifestyle.
you was just
That's why I don't get
participating
no
in the
judgment.
orgy.
Huh?
You was just participating in an orgy. That's different.
That
Oh no,
too,
you ain't
yeah.
gotta be married to be a swinger. You
That
ain't gotta
too.
be married. As long as
I'm talking
you
about
ain't gotta
being
be married.
married. I'm talking
Being
about being
married?
married and
Nah, I'm
having.
not. Oh, nah, I'm not. I'm not married. Yeah.
Okay, so listen. Let's say hello to
But
E.
I understand how they handle the thing. I'm not that much a judgmental person if it's run a certain way the way it's supposed to, and the world doesn't hear it so much. That's the whole thing. What's one of the things that a lot of women complain about us men? We lie so much about trying to get what we want out of them. I never respected that. And stuff. I understand why women complain about that.
Okay,
There's
so
no
we
saying
talked about.
that another dating coach used by the name of Roger Curry. Dudes that gotta be indirect with women to get sets for them. Verbal cowards. And I felt
Okay, so
the same way
listen.
about dudes like that too myself all my life. Because I always say, like, if you feel like you gotta cheat on a woman so many times,
Mail is so
you
long.
better
Mel.
you better just be
Mel.
single and be straight with her so you want to go through all these problems and stuff.
So, Mel, we have devoted 2 minutes of our life to that, and we're not going back. So let's
Right.
get back to our subject. We only got them 2 minutes.
We're not going
So,
back.
E-Man, let's go ahead and say hello to you. How are you doing? And Donald, hello to you. But we're going to go to E-Man first. So, E-Man, go ahead and give us your
I
your.
am
Parental discretion advised. Your mic is down, bro. Your mic down. We can't hear you at all. Turn up. Nope, you sound your mic's not even on.
All right, we're gonna go to Donald while you do that. Donald, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We can
What's
hear
going
you.
on, Donald?
What's going on? So I was the one that wrote in the chat, and I said that was the worst advice ever.
To simp for your wife.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about now? Now that you know what? So we were in two different times. So, how do you define simping? I guess the way that you're not that doesn't get reciprocated. Is that how you see a simp being? Someone that does things, a man that does things for a woman and it's not reciprocated. Is that how you see it?
So in my personal opinion, I think simp in any era, it would be considered like a derogatory name, meaning as though like it's not a good thing to be a simp. Y'all, back in the day, y'all consider being a simp a good thing?
Well, we didn't call people simps, but like what we thought it was, what you were talking about would be men that opened doors, that were chivalrous, that brought flowers, that were very thoughtful, who pulled out chairs and things of that nature would be what we would think simping would be. It's just showing, he's crazy about this woman. He loves her. He's about this woman. That's what it would be. And it wasn't a negative, but it was also reciprocated though. There was no, joke game plan or anything like that. It was something, that was definitely recognized by the woman to be a good thing.
Yeah, because when I hear people call Russell Wilson a simp, then how can you call him a simp? Because it's reciprocated by both parties. So how you gonna call Russell Wilson a simp? But listen, I mean, how
remember
can
what
you?
Black Man said? That's dudes that's technically hating on other dudes that's getting what they want. So there's a jealousy, you know what I'm saying, part.
So they call that man a simp out of jealousy.
Yeah, that's one of it. Yeah, exactly.
Because it doesn't seem like it's one way to me with him and Sierra. It seems like it's reciprocated
I
back and
agree with
forth.
you, definitely. I agree with
So
you.
he shouldn't be labeled a simp. So see, that's what I'm talking about. My problem. I'm like, dude, y'all calling this man a simp, but dude, back in our time, that's what we would call a stand-up type dude. Now, I don't agree with everything he does, but I understand why he does it because it's his wife.
Yeah. But see, like I said, I always say this all the time, we got a lot of extremists in this space. Overly heartbroken, that's the term, black pill men and stuff that
we just got through talking about
sorry about that.
broken men, and we're not going to down them because we don't know what situation they're in.
But you know what? I'm sorry. No, it's not about down them, but I'm keeping the buck right now. That's what it is. Most of them, when I hear them, that's how most of them are acting like, and I don't agree with them. Period. Like
that's okay. That's okay not to agree. It's okay. You shouldn't. But let's do this. $2 super chat. We unlock. Thank you so much. And he says, "What is the purpose of life?" How about that?
He left the "you" out there, mother. Listen,
He
E-Man.
spoiled it his way.
Okay, I'm
But
sorry.
wait a minute, before we go further, I wanted to get what Donald's thoughts
Oh,
on
yeah.
what Hink was saying about well, I want to know what Donald, what you think that Russell Wilson is a simp. So why do you think that?
I'm
Donald?
about to just give me 2 seconds. I'm fixing
Okay,
my
go ahead.
camera. Just give me 2 seconds. Yeah,
Okay,
give me
so
2 seconds.
we gonna do the super chat. Listen, A Senior gave us a $9.99 super chat. He know we need to move our shoulders. Shout out to Mel and Hink for the dialogue. All right, so you get the money line song.
I'ma run it every time. Give me mine. Going up, need no decline.
Money line.
I'ma run it every time.
Give me mine.
Going up, need no decline.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So E-Man, are you back in business, sir? No.
No, sir.
An American man, how you doing today, sir?
How you doing, love? I'm
I'm
well.
doing well. What's going on with you today? You've been listening again today, and thank you for being here yesterday. What do you got to add to this?
Well, I came in on the like Russell Wilson talk, and honestly, the reason why I most see Russell Wilson stated or slated as a simp is because he took in a woman with another man's kids, and not only another man's kids, quote unquote Pookie's kids. I think that's why he's labeled a simp by some men is because it's like she wouldn't even want you had she not gone through what she had gone through with a Pookie, that type of vibe, that type. I I don't know if I agree. I agree that it's kind of like shaky to take in to kind of be the second choice. But I wouldn't call him simp personally. But that's why I usually see him called a simp.
So you think he would? Oh, I see what you're saying. The second choice because she already had a relationship and a child from another man. But I
Yeah.
think she would have went with both of them, and she did at different times. I don't think she would have. If Russell would have came first, I think that she would have been with Russell. I think so.
But do you think
You gotta know
men
how-
of his caliber and of his kind of cut of his cloth, you think they didn't want her before Future got at her?
No,
I
I
mean,
just think maybe the timing of it all. I don't know how they met or where they were or what have you. I don't know anything about that, but I think that she probably truly wanted them all, and how wanted them both. But you know how people always say women go for bad boys. I think the industry that she was in was probably what brought her to Future. Future probably was not the best guy, but she probably felt like she could change him. And we all know what changing gets you, nothing. But however she was raised probably brought her back to Russell and probably where she's most comfortable. And it seems like they have an outstanding relationship.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know.
Like it's one-sided or he's being mistreated or anything. Like I would only call him a simp if like she was running back to Future sometimes, or we heard about
I don't think
that they took.
But how many kids? How many kids Future got?
He has multiple kids, but
I don't even know who to know.
So my thing is this: when Sierra went into that situation, she knew he had 10.
That's true.
She knew his reputation.
I think she was number 2. I think Sierra was number 2.
No. She knew he had multiple. He had a whole bunch of kids when he got Sierra.
I don't think so. I think Sierra was like number 2. We can Google that. I think she was number 2 or 3.
I know for a fact that she knew he had about 6 or 7 kids when they got together. She knew he had multiple kids.
He had multiple kids before.
Oh yes.
Before she ever got with him.
Yeah.
No.
A lot of pushback with Russell.
Oh my God. Okay, so listen. Okay, listen. Look, we don't put too much time into those people in their lives. They have different problems. So anyway, Donald, I just wanted you to tell us your opinion on that as far as why do you don't think you should simp? And I guess that's not the right word. We're using the wrong word now because we don't agree on what simping actually means. But would you be for your wife, would you hold anything back as far as your caring and your loving? You would hold back from your wife anything? Would you?
So what I stated was, I said it's nothing wrong with treating a woman good, but it's a difference between treating a woman good and being a simp. So
Right.
being a simp is putting a woman on a pedestal, not being able to walk away, not being able to make her meet your standards. You put her on a pedestal to a point where she damn near can do no wrong. That's what simping is. So and then treating a woman good, that's just natural. Opening the door for her, taking her out to eat, whatever, giving her a massage. All of those things are natural. But if you pedestalize her and like you look at her to the point where she can damn near make no mistakes, or you not willing to walk away from her, then that's simping. It's a difference between simping and treating a woman nice.
So let me ask you this: how do you value your wife? How does your wife become an asset to you? How valuable is a wife to you?
I would say a wife is definitely valuable. She's definitely an asset to you, but at the same time, she still has to know that you have no problem walking away from her, because the moment that you start simping for a woman is the moment that she loses respect and desire for you. So if she loses that respect for you, she won't ever love you like how she's supposed to, because a woman got to respect you, number one, and then she can love you. She can't love you without respecting you. And the moment you start simping for her, she doesn't respect you anymore, because women don't respect soft men. And when you simp for a woman, you become soft.
Okay, so I'm gonna reverse that for you. A woman won't submit to you and love you if she has an inkling of a thought that you would leave. You won't get it.
I disagree, because I think if a woman knows you won't leave,
Slow
somebody
down,
like
slow down. You just listen. Slow down for a minute. You just told a woman that just told you that if you can't make a woman trust the fact that you're going to be there, that she will not submit to you, you're going to disagree with that. I am a woman, and I'm telling you, the one thing that we need is to know that you're there. We need the stability in your love, and we will submit wholeheartedly. But if we think for 1 minute that if I do something to the left or I do something to the right, that you're going to leave me, you won't get it. You won't get the submission that's required to go the distance.
I disagree. I
Well,
disagree.
well,
I found
hold on, let me go. So this is where I say I disagree, because if let's just use Will and Jada for example. Jada knows Will will not leave. This is why she constantly disrespects him. But if she knew that he would leave her at a moment's notice, he would not disrespect. She would not disrespect him.
But you just made my point, because Jada's not submissive to Will. We're talking about
that's the point, though.
She's not submissive to Will. We're talking about a real relationship. If Jada could be submissive to Will, then Will wouldn't have these problems. You see, we need to roll it back. You need to deal with real relationships. Like I said earlier, and y'all making me devote a whole nother minute to Will and Jada. Listen, Will and Jada are on some other stuff. They have opened their relationship up to things that regular people don't normally do. I'm talking about regular people, like maybe your parents, myself, and Mr. Boss, or what have you. My husband, what the role is my husband loves me. I respect and submit to him. So you're right with that. But for a woman, we look for stability and security. We need that from you in order for us to give ourselves to you totally. And when I say give ourselves to you totally, I mean submit to you totally.
Okay.
And then
you guys hear me better now?
Huh?
Y'all guys can hear me better now, right?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. And once I've submitted to you, then Donald and American Man, you can do whatever it is you need to do as the man, because I'm totally in support of what you're doing, because I know you're not going anywhere. I'm not there to disrespect you. If you feel like that there's going to be disrespect because you love me, then I'm not the woman that I need to be for you. You kind of get what I'm saying? I'm the wrong one. I'm the wrong one.
So let me ask you a question, right? If you're, let's say, well, let's just use a hypothetical. It don't gotta actually be you and your husband. Let's just say you was to have another husband, and let's say he told you that he's not leaving you no matter what, under any circumstances. And then you got another man that he puts standards, he puts foundation, and he puts discipline on you. Who are you going to respect more? The one that is never going to leave, or the one that puts like some type of foundation on both of you guys' relationship?
That's kind of hard for me to say, because everything begins with a foundation. But a man doesn't treat a woman, his wife, like a child. So the conversation of he's putting discipline on you, that doesn't really make good sense, because again, there's a vetting process. And in that vetting process that man does, he sees the discipline of that woman automatically. He sees that they work together. Like if my husband is a disciplined man, military, police officer, straightforward like that, he's not going to necessarily go with the party girl that wants to go out with the girlfriends every Friday night, because he's understanding. Or how about this? Or the woman with the tramp stamp, or the woman with the tattoo on the boobs, because he's understanding that she has a part of the world in her that shows a lack of discipline, and that may not be something that he can live with. You understand what I'm saying? Or the woman that maybe get high. He's not going to go with the woman that gets high, because that's a bit of unworldliness or unruliness that he may not be able to live with. So all that goes into picking the woman prior to even marrying the woman. So some conversations don't have to be had.
Well, I think what we're kind of talking about is the vetting process, because I think the difference, I think what Donald is getting at is like, if as a man, if you're talking with a woman and like you take her out to kind of see how she interacts with the public, with other men, and she's really touchy feely, really giggly, like she likes touch. She'll touch a man on his shoulder, and like look him in the eye and laugh at his jokes and things like that. He gets home and tells her like, hey, I can't have you acting like that in public. Like I can't be in a long-term relationship with someone that does that. I think that opens up our relationship to negative outcomes.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're talking about, where a simp won't do something like that, and he'll just deal with that, like, and just be okay with it, or not be okay with it, but he'll let it ride out for the sake of having a woman.
Okay, so let me say this like this: women are feminine, and women are beautiful, and we know where we have power, a lot of us, but there are also a lot of immaturity that comes with that. So if you're with a woman that has not yet put value into your relationship or into you, to say this is my man, and when I'm with my man, I'm with him, and I don't be smiling in men's faces. If she hasn't got to that mature level yet, then either you decide to have the conversations because she's hitting other things, or you let her go. But if she has the value in the relationship and the value in you, she'll know that she falls right beside you. And then when you introduce her, she shakes hands or she gives a smile, but it's nothing overtly going on, or she's not giving eyes to someone else or whatever. But if she is, she's not the one. I mean, to me, I would just be sitting back watching, guys, and be like, oh, red flag, dismissed, next. Because you can't change. You got to figure out what these women are. You can't accept it and then later on just think she's going to get it without conversation. But again, we're beautiful women. They have nice figures, and men give us all types of attention. I might be whistling to my husband. You see how you smiling at me? We need to go another way. But she might be smiling back. So you have to watch and see how women react and what you want from your wife, because some things may be acceptable, and other things may not. But you don't want to pimp out your wife.
And hopefully you did all this before you put her in certain situations. She already should have been in a situation before she became your wife.
Yeah, but if
it's too late to sit and say, it's too late to sit there and say, well, I'm going to leave her. I can't stay married to you because you were doing all this. No, that should have been addressed a long time ago. Because I'm sure y'all went out before y'all got married. I would hope so, that you were put in certain situations and to see how it responds. You got to put them under fire. Put them under fire before you get married to them. Because once you're married to it, you're married to her. And to sit there and have that conversation in, it may be too late. Yeah. You have to do that.
But
that's a must.
That's the truth. But you know what? You can't, you just don't know. See, sometimes women are, okay, listen, I don't want to say this, but listen, you all are leaders. Y'all are logical thinkers, men. So it's sometimes y'all can tell us better what men are thinking about what we're doing better than we just know it. How about that? Let's say it that way. Yeah. So if my husband says, babe, that skirt might be a little too short because he's trying to look up your skirt, I might think I'm looking cute, and I may be looking cute, but I never knew that, damn, he would be on the ground trying to look up my skirt. Y'all be doing that? And he'd be like,
under the escalator looking at.
Yeah. So we don't think of things like that. So when men tell us that, instead of it being seen as controlling, we have to see it as protection. Now, if your woman can see it as protection, she's a woman that you want to work with.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if she's seen it as controlling, you be like, look, baby girl, you're not quite ready yet. I'm gonna go ahead and you're a good girl, but you're not quite the one I'm looking for. And it may not be a conversation. It could just be you just lessening the the interactions, until she gets it. Doesn't mean she's a bad girl. She just may not be ready for what you're ready for.
Mhm.
But don't just keep accepting things without calling them out or putting a voice to it, because again, we
Okay.
don't know everything about men. And I say it all the time. In the beginning of my relationship, I studied my husband. I got books, I read, I prayed. I needed to know who he was because I wanted to adapt to him and have a good marriage relationship.
Mm.
But
boss, this is the whole thing and stuff like that. You ever heard of an old saying, "The power to walk away and mean it"? See, that's like an level. Most men are not exercising how assertive they could be. And stuff.
No.
but
That's
listen
one
to
of the
what
reasons why
Hold
women
on,
walk
hold
over
on,
them
hold
the
on,
way
hold
they
on.
do. Oh,
but what I do know.
let me finish. And that's why a lot of women walk over those men and they accept it too much the way it is. So
But
yeah,
listen,
we saying that you
Neil,
gotta know a time that you gotta be a little bit assertive and lay out your demands and technically let her know I don't tolerate this and that and stuff like that.
no, Mel, no,
Most people don't
your
do that.
spouse is not a child. You don't
I'm
play
not
with
talking about the meaning of a spouse, but when leads up to that, it starts off with the beginning process. Even when they meet these females,
You talking about dating?
pedestal
that's
because they
different.
fantasize them on a level that she's so beautiful. I want to get her. They please her, but then when stuff like that happens, then it kind of backfires and stuff like that. Like Hank
Security
was
boss.
saying it himself, you got to lay all that in the beginning of the relationship and everything. What you stand for and what you're not going to tolerate. Most dudes don't
But
exercise.
Mel, you're talking about grown women. Women, you don't speak to grown ups like toleration. You
No,
all you got to do is be a
yes, you
man.
do.
Male,
Because
male,
Yes, you do.
male, we
listen,
Yeah.
got
I would.
no,
yeah.
you don't have to do that. All you got to do is be a man, and it's understood. You don't have
No,
to talk to a woman
no.
talking about I don't tolerate.
Yeah,
Women are grown ups,
Yes,
y'all.
you
They're
do.
right.
grown.
And you know what,
You
Mel?
don't.
Mel, the
You
only
don't.
woman
I'm telling you.
with the mindset you're at right now, Mel, because we're all men right here, right now. We can have this conversation, and I gotta go, guys. I gotta go and get some stuff from my daughter. But
Mhm.
I will say this: the mindset that you have right now, the only woman that you will be able to marry right now is a woman with short term memory.
I don't think
Because
so.
no, because you ain't no way
No, I
if you
don't
get
think so.
the
Let him
only
finish. Let him finish,
the
man.
only woman that you ready short term. You know why? Because there's no woman out there, right? Unless you find her in a very, very, and I remember security boss broke somebody down on my panel about this. Oh, it was one masterful. The only woman we get that's like that are women that are vulnerable.
Oh, I know.
Women that don't have them don't have a lot going for them. They feel down about themselves. You get them, you can control them. But you ain't gonna get no security boss talking like that. Oh no, sir. You're not gonna get
No, I
anybody
don't
like
think so.
Brittany B, or you're not gonna get anybody like TJ Randolph or
Why
anybody
is
like
why
this.
is having standards and saying I won't tolerate a certain thing being
Exactly.
controlling?
No, no,
I'm gonna
no.
tell you
Why
why.
I'm
why
saying
is
I'm
no.
gonna
that
tell you
being
why.
controlling?
Like
Hold
No,
on.
you
Because
can say
I'm
Wait a
I'm a,
minute.
I'm a,
Wait a minute, Mal.
can I
You
let
might
you
not
can I
like
let you know
the
something?
way I'm
Can I let
saying
you
it,
know
but
something?
I'm gonna keep it how it is. Like, yo, we gotta keep it a buck. Like,
Hey,
that's how
security boss, I
I
gotta
am.
go. I love you, security boss. I gotta
Me
go. I'll
too.
see y'all
I'll
later.
say
I'll be
it.
listening though. I'll be
Let,
listening.
let
That's all,
me
brother.
let me tell you why, American man.
But
Let me
can I
tell you
say
why.
something before
But
you respond to me?
yes.
Because when I say I won't tolerate something, or hey, I can't have you doing this, or I can't be with someone who does these certain things, I'm not saying that because to be controlling. I'm saying things like that because I don't want to have to be controlling. I don't want to have to think about what you're doing and edge case because I know, oh, she like this, so I got to bring her around people like this so she doesn't act out. I can't do that. Like that's extra business.
I
Exactly.
So
But
agree.
you
I agree
but
with
you
you.
can
But
say
what
the
I'm
same
saying to you,
thing without saying those words. Like I
that's
can't
exactly what
accept.
I'm saying. What I'm saying to you,
You
young
don't have
man,
to say
oh, command.
tolerate. I mean,
what I'm saying to
yeah,
you, young man, is this.
but
You have to
but
be
this
an
about being
example.
smart though.
You got to be an example of what you want. You can't talk to an adult woman with I'm not tolerating.
Yeah, you,
Just be the example of what you want, that disciplined man that you want, that whatever it is you want, that standard that you want, you be that person, and
Okay,
she's going to understand and
that's
see
right.
exactly what you want. But that means you're not doing it. I promise you,
No,
it's you say that it's not true. It is true. I'm telling you, you don't have there's not going to be a time of day where you can answer every scenario and say what you will and will not do or what you
so you're saying like if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, she not even gonna laugh in people's faces. I don't even have to tell her not to laugh in dudes' faces or like touch men in public or anything. I won't even have to tell her. Like that doesn't really make sense because
I'm saying if it's a good woman that you're thinking about taking to another level, that you're thinking about marrying, she is not going to be the woman. If you picked her, you know, it's whatever it was you liked about her, you brought her to a different level, right?
Yeah.
And you've been taking her around people, and she's been seeing you and hearing you speak. You speaking life into her, or speaking life about what you want as a man, how you want to go about doing it, the respect level you have for people, the respect level you have for elders or whoever. You showing her all this respect. There's no way in the world that woman can see you do this, and then next time you got her out in public, she over here hollering and screaming and moving her neck and hand like that. How could that be? That can't be.
Because
can't hang out together.
I think you're talking about older women, though. You're not talking about women from 20 to 30.
Yeah,
it's up to you, though. It's up to you. Maybe I'm talking about an older man.
So I want to give an example right quick, right? So you can run into a woman with good characteristics. She could be a good woman, but the majority of the time she's used to dealing with a certain caliber of men that put her on pedestals. So when you run into her and you tell her, I don't tolerate this, I'm not going for that, I don't do this, I don't allow that. It's nothing wrong with telling a woman that, because as a man, you got to be able to assert dominance with women. You can't speak how they speak. We can't speak. Us men cannot speak like women and speak in y'all language. We got to speak how we speak in order for y'all to respect us and understand us. We can't say.
You don't have to speak at all. You don't have to speak at all. You can just be an example of what you want, and you can get it. Now, I'm not saying to you, but let me just ask you this question. When you speak in those terms, and you might just be talking to me that way, I'm not sure how you communicating it back to the woman, but is it working for you?
Absolutely.
It's working in my past. Yeah,
absolutely.
No,
can I ask a question?
Wait a minute. Hold on for a minute, man. Donald, you say it is working. So when you say it's working, you all are dating, and but are you really saying these words you're saying to me, or you just saying it to me for me to answer?
Last time that I dated.
Wait a minute. Hold on, the American man. Go ahead, Donald. Tell me exactly what you're saying. Not exactly what you're saying, but I just want to hear.
Actually, what I say is I'm actually putting it in a nice terms when I'm speaking it.
I got you.
It's more brutal.
I think that's what
it's
I'm
more
trying
brutal.
to allude. But
Can I finish?
I'm describing what the action is, but like you took it as I was saying exact words. I actually does the action and stuff like that, and say it even if I was saying the actual word. But the fact that the action shows.
Okay, so we misunderstood it. Hink and I are misunderstanding then, because I'm thinking y'all saying that y'all talking to these women and saying y'all don't tolerate something, but you're saying you're not saying that.
No, I say
you're not saying in
I
the
say I
actual
do
word
say that.
sense,
I
but
do
we're
say
showing
that.
the actions and maybe saying it differently. But
Instead
of responding.
Mel, something is going on that you can't hear other people when they're talking. So just hold on for 1 second before you're speaking. Donald, go ahead and speak, sir. Say what you had to say.
I said I do say that. I say it's more. I say the way I'm speaking to you is more nicely. I'm saying the women that I'm gonna speak to is more brutal.
And you said that does work with you. I mean, that you get.
Oh, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
You get a positive response from that.
Oh, absolutely. Because I'm always the one guy that never speaks to them like that. And they always respect me more than they respect any other man, because every other man puts them on a pedestal and is scared to say certain things to them and is scared to walk away from them. And when they come into me, it's always different. It's just like, let's just use an example. Let's just say we're all in elementary school. And let's say all of the kids are in a group, and then another kid comes in. Let's just say he's a fighter. They're going to respect that person more than they respect everybody in a group. And it's the same thing with a woman. When you come into her life and you different and you put different standards, protocols, and foundation on her, she will respect you more than she respects the other men.
Okay, so what is
Do y'all establish this thing dominance over other men? Because if y'all don't, y'all gonna be look like bitch boys.
So
what do you mean?
So
this tough talk y'all talking. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, Hink, before we get there, I want to go back though. But Donald, what is this? Okay, so you say what you want, and they hear you, and I'm assuming they respect you. But do they do what you ask?
Everything.
Yeah, a lot of times women want to.
Are you getting married soon, or what is this all for?
I would say, me personally, I'm not getting married until I'm at least in my 30s.
So what is this all for? What is it, just a date?
So I mean, right now I'm just dating. But I mean, of course, in the future, I will want to get married.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Mel, can you please go ahead and say what you had to say, sir? And then we're gonna go to Aka. But I want.
Here's the thing, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, and I'm glad Donald was saying that, you know, different women will respond to different things how we tolerate it. Now, the way you're explaining it, boss, yeah, they're gonna respond the way you're saying it. But that doesn't make Donald wrong also too and stuff. And that doesn't make the women he's dealing with low level and everything too and everything. It's the fact that, you know, one side of it, yeah, they're used to guys that's pedestalize them, not afraid to speak their mind towards them when they doing wrong by them. He's setting a dominance or assertiveness about, you know, how he is and how he wants to be dealt with, and if you want to be around his company, especially from women and stuff. And
Well, see,
if
I just
they
never
respond
thought
to him
that.
positively the way he sees it, and they like that, that doesn't make those women low level like that. And now I've seen it even in certain marriages and stuff like that also too. And some women don't mind that and
No, I
stuff.
get what you're saying, but I just never thought a man had to make himself dominant. You know, I always just give you all a men. You know, it's a given. You don't
I
have
have
to.
to say this,
but
but you
us,
know, for some dudes, they probably might have to exercise it. Now, I'm not saying that as an being abusive. Yeah, I
right.
mean that's where the misconfusion coming at, because when we say certain dominance and everything, everybody take it as, you know, abuse and everything and everything. No, like you're just setting a energy, a stance and stuff.
Right.
Like I'm
Can I
not
just
going to tolerate certain things. But some,
I
yes,
have
some men like
everything
when
like
their
security
marriages,
boss. I
family and
appreciate you
stuff like
having
that,
me on.
everything. So it's
No,
like,
wait a minute, E-Man. Before you go, I want you to say what you have to say. I'm sorry, go ahead. You got time to say what you got to say real quick?
Yeah, I can say real quick.
Okay,
I think the problem that we're running into is I think it's a difference between dealing with a child or a girl and dealing with a woman, right?
right. Yeah,
Um, and I noticed that when you dealing with a woman who have daddy issues, for example, you might have to treat her like a child because that's something that she might been missing.
I
And
got
so
you. Mhm.
when I hear people like
Because
Don,
most women,
I hello, when I hear people like Don say things like, "Hey, she used to all these men putting her on pedestals, and you're the first one," that tells me that her choices in the past might have not been correct because she used to choosing men that put her on a pedestal. If that makes sense.
being chosen
What
by.
can
about
I can
what?
I ask you a question though? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I finish? Go ahead, Don. Go ahead.
Now, I was just gonna say, would you say the majority of women have what you just spoke of, meaning as though they chose men in the past that put them on pedestals?
I don't think all women choose that. Like what
No,
I'm saying,
not all,
not
majority.
majority. I don't think. See, it's a different frequency of women. We got what we call the bottom feeders that we talk about on YouTube, and then there's a higher level of women that don't go through all the stuff that y'all guys talk about.
But what
What I love
percentage of
about
women is
Security
that,
Boss,
bro?
hello, what I love about Security Boss,
Just be realistic.
she's putting together a show full of these women who might have it that are not bottom feeders that went to school, got an education, don't have a whole bunch of
That
bodies. So
doesn't
these
mean
women move totally different. The point that I'm saying, if we break down this definition of simp, see, YouTube has took this word simp and they have made it into their own meaning. Simp only mean one thing from an urban point of view, since we're all urban. It's a man that's doing too much for a woman. It had nothing to do with stepfathers. It had nothing to do with none of these things that we decided that we was going to add to that term. And how do we measure if a person is doing too much? That's someone's opinion. So that means that this whole term simp is 100% a person's opinion on what they think. It's really no evidence in, hey, this person is a simp if he does this, that, and the third. And what I have saw in my view is a whole bunch of single men complain about married men that are successful. Like, why are y'all even worrying about us?
mm,
Like why we're that important that y'all take hours of your day to talk about Russell Westbrook. He's happy, he's married, he's having kids. I mean Russell Wilson. I'm sorry, Russell Wilson. And so that's
Got
the
it.
key. The key is now stop complaining about people who have the results that they want and go out and get your own result. And that's the point that I want to make.
I agree, and you dropped the mic on that. We only wanted to devote about 2 minutes to them, so we did it. So I appreciate that, E-Man. And listen, thank you for coming up, and we'll see you soon. So, Aika,
It's Ika.
Aika, I'm gonna get it right one day. Sorry.
It's okay. You're
Thank
fine.
you for being here. What would you like to add to this saga that we
Oh, yeah. So, Donald, right? Donald. So it sounds like to me when you're talking to these women, it sounds like you're trying to set up boundaries, right? I feel like this is like a weird terminology kind of thing. I hear a lot of men talk about I have to assert dominance. She has to get onto my program. And I think the core of it is you guys are setting up boundaries, right? Like there's a certain type of woman that you're looking for that you want to fit into your life that will respect certain boundaries you have for your life. So that way you're not getting run over by different people, whether that has been your experience or not, or other people's experience. But when you're like talking about other women, you use words like dominance, it sounds like you're trying to control women. And when women hear that, it's kind of alarming, I guess. Like you don't really want to feel like you're a child, or like you don't have a brain, or you have like no self-control, because women can gain that, if that makes sense. Like I understand everyone comes from different places, from different experiences, and women, I feel like we have dropped the ball with a lot of men, right? I'm gonna give you guys that, because I feel like,
for being honest,
right. But at the same time, when women are really looking for someone and can understand your boundaries, like it's going to be respected. And even if there is a woman who would want to use you and understands that this is your boundary and you will not budge on it, she can't use you, so she's going to go away. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
like you set boundaries for yourself and just stick to them. The right woman will respect those boundaries, and if she does not respect those boundaries, keep it pushing. Let her walk away.
It's just an example, because sometimes when a woman can miss a good man if he's coming off too strong. It might not sound like it's a good place to be, where it may be a good place to be if I just watch you, if I see how he moves, if I see how he pays all his bills on time, how his apartment is immaculate, how he looks, and always down to his sneakers, how his car look. I mean, to make see who this guy is, this disciplined guy who's here saying, okay, he wants that type of woman. Because how is it if you say you want that type of woman, but you're not carrying it out as a man? How should a woman look at that? I mean, you're verbally saying you want this type of woman, this type of woman, this type of woman. Then she looks at you and you're not displaying that. You're not displaying that kind of man that would go with that type of woman. How is that to be, how do we explain that part? If that would be the case, how do you explain that? If you're just saying it in words, I'm saying if you did it as an example, then it's understood that, oh, I'm not getting ready to smoke a cigarette in his car, or I'm not getting ready to, whatever.
A lot of women don't think like that, man. Most women don't think like that.
How do they think? Tell me.
Like if they're they do what they're going to do, and then they need you to tell them how you need a woman to, like a lot of at least from the women that I date, a lot of them are looking for me to tell them what type of women I like, so they can
become that woman.
Exactly.
So they can become that woman.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now listen to that. Make sense of that. Make sense of that. Mean? Because to me, that's saying that's not real. That's not the you want somebody
she wants to grow into the quality of woman that I want. She's willing to grow to become who I need,
Okay, so
she's looking for him to mold her. She's willing to change for him because he makes her feel a certain way that that she likes. She wants to be a better version of herself for him.
Exactly.
Well, not a better version of herself. She wants to be whatever he wants her to be, but
a better version of herself.
But no, because she is real her.
Gonna smoke a cigarette in her car, and I tell her not to. I'm telling her to be a better version of herself. That's not.
But see, that's what I'm saying. But the idea behind it though is she smokes a cigarette. Is that what you want?
No.
See, you can't change a
put a boundary.
See, no, listen though. Only you can't change a person like that. The woman herself has to want to change.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's my whole point.
But she has to have no. Listen, if you tell somebody to do something, they're doing it because they think they can win something if they do it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep. Okay. So what's wrong with that?
That's very
not what she's trying to explain.
No,
I think
it's not.
while I was saying that.
Okay.
I am who
let
I
me
am
explain
because
this.
I molded myself to be the type of man that gets what I want to get. So
That's you by
that's
But
how
yourself.
you become a better
what you're
person.
doing is you're doing as a you're doing it for yourself. The byproduct is that you're going
Exactly.
to have women that's coming
She's doing
towards
it
you
for
that you
herself
want
because she wants to be
and
with
stuff.
with men that are like me. Like, what do you mean?
No,
But see, there's a difference. See,
Hell, hold on for a
she's
minute. Hold on for one second. What I'm saying is when you meet a woman,
Uh-huh.
whatever habits that she have,
Okay.
whether it's she doesn't exercise, she
Hmm.
doesn't comb her hair every day, she don't bathe every day, whatever it is she don't do, and you
Right.
see these things in her, right?
Hmm.
But now you're there with her and you really like her, and you're saying to her, you know what, I really don't want, and I don't know how you're gonna say it, but you might say something like, I don't want you to be fat when you after you have our babies or whatever, so I need you to exercise. And she be like, huh, I don't really like to exercise, but okay, I'll do it. Right?
Hmm.
I'm saying to you, this woman may exercise about 90 days to get you to believe that this is her and that she will do it. Right? Then once
No,
you marry her, no,
I mean,
I'm just putting
some
something out there. It
you.
may not be a real. I'm just telling you, the woman that you marry is the woman that you marry. If
So
they don't change for you, they change for themselves.
yeah.
exactly.
If they
That's
change for you, it's not going to be a real change.
It's
It's going
temporary.
to
so you're saying
be what it was.
you're saying date the finished product. If she not what you want off top, you shouldn't even be dating her.
Well, you got to know that that's the.
That
No, listen.
disqualifies most women that exist today in America.
Well, if that's the case, then
No,
maybe
That
you're
means
okay. So it's okay. So listen, I think
come
we get
on, man.
better with age. I'm saying if this woman is willing, but you got to be willing to accept her worst when you meet her, because that is who she is.
You
Because
say
you didn't have her, right? You didn't have her. You are not raising a woman. You're not raising a child. You did not give birth to her. You are not her father. You have to accept what she's bringing. Now, I'm not saying she can't become a better woman, but note that if it's not genuine and she's just trying to get you, it may revert back to the original product. Through why do you think men and women, why do you think we have such problems? Why do you think men are here saying, Dag, my wife used to do this, but now she don't do this?
because
Or
you
how about my wife gained over 50 pounds and she just don't care? Why do
That's
when
his
you
fault. That's his fault.
did you
How did he should have been
oh,
on it when she gained that first 10 pounds and pushed her. Let her
but
know
hey,
like, hey, keep putting
So
that
so
work in.
But
but some
see,
things you
see,
got to do
that's
by lead by.
can I
Some
say
things you
it?
got to do by leading by example too, man.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be no fat ass and go sit there and say, "Hey, baby, you gained 50 pounds after this
Sure.
baby." No, your fat ass need to get in there, go in the gym,
Right.
and hopefully
If
you
that's
can
what you
encourage
want as
her
a
to
man.
go in
Yeah.
there, go to the gym yourself.
Right.
You don't want to sit there and you be in there smoking cigarettes. Baby, I can't have you smoking
Right.
cigarettes in
That's
my car.
wild.
But
Yeah.
goddamn, you in smoking in the goddamn house. What's the
Right.
difference? How about we just quit smoking and we
Exactly.
kick all that habit?
Okay.
But some of
what
these
I'm
things
saying is
we can't accept. We shouldn't accept from the gift. If I know this woman smoking, I'm not going to be interested in her. I'm not going to pursue her. I'm not
Hmm.
going to go after her.
Okay,
I'm
but
not the guy who's
okay.
into smoking.
Now
Don't
Hank,
go after her.
now Hank. What if you don't know she smoked? You get with her, and then you find out she smoked, but you really like this woman, and
uh-uh.
you tell this woman,
okay?
"Hey,
See that
I can't
that's
be
the
with her."
problem right there.
Hold, let me finish my point, man. Come on.
That's
That's the
that's
problem right there, brother. You
All
just
right,
said it
brother.
yourself. Because
No,
I
no,
like her
man.
that much. You're
Let me
willing to
ask you a question.
compromise for her.
Mel, let him complete his thought. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Mel. Let him complete his thought. Breathe, Mel.
And
Breathe.
then
Go
and
ahead.
then you tell her I can't be with a smoker, and she's the one that says I can stop that. That can kick, And then it turns out that she starts putting in the work, and at least shows the drive. She might not stop. She might, stopping smoking is a whole process. This is like the subject that we're on, but if she's willing to put in the work to change and grow into the quality of woman that you want, what's y'all issue with that?
I'm saying it may not happen, and you got to be ready
No
for
No,
worries.
it in
yeah.
marriage. I'm
No
The
telling you,
worries.
it
issue
may
is
not happen. And marriage
once
is
once
Okay, but I'm asking Hink if
oh,
she comes to you with that and says I can kick that or grow with me and let me kick that for you. What you gonna say? You gonna be like, nah, it's over. It's dead.
but hold on. you'll give her time to kick that, but you won't accept her smiling in somebody's face and saying that's disrespectful.
No, no, I didn't say when we were talking about that, I didn't say that. I said I would tell her I can't be with someone who does that, and then let her grow into the woman who doesn't do that. You know, if or let her take it how she wants to. If that's a deal breaker for her, if she's like, that's just who I am, or I'm just I I'm just who I am, and sometimes people think I'm flirting. I'm not flirty. I just act flirty or whatever. We've all heard, some rendition of that. Then let her move on. Or if she comes to you and says, I apologize, that's I act, or some rendition of that, then move accordingly to that.
So
I'm
let
just
me ask
saying.
you this: all of
But
these things
but here,
you're gonna notice with the
you never
with
answered the
the
question, though, brother. You never answered the question. Would that be
answer
a
what
deal
question,
breaker
sir?
for you? Would that be a deal breaker for you, or would you allow her to try and grow into what you need her to be?
No, first of all, if I see a woman who smokes, I'm not gonna pursue her.
No, but
I'm
I
not
said
gonna be
if
interested in
you
her.
didn't know she smokes, and then you
I'm,
get
I'm,
with
I'm
her.
gonna know she smokes by the
Come
smell.
on, brother.
You,
Let's be
no,
realistic.
some things are obvious, though. Some
All
things
right,
are obvious.
all right.
I'm just telling you, some things are obvious. Now, her smiling in somebody's face, we may not be in an atmosphere where she gets the opportunity to do that,
You
and
may
then
not be in the
I'll address it
atmosphere
as
when she's
such.
smoking, brother.
But
All right, so
but
listen,
but
let's
certain
take a
things are obvious.
Can I say
let's
this
take
real
a quick
quick,
break.
please?
Hold on for a minute, Mayor. Hold on for a minute. We're gonna do we unlock. Thank you so much for your $2 super chat.
Y'all be
It
wanting finished
says
products.
whatever happened to being her friend first.
Hell,
Thank you so much for your $2 super chat. And American man, what were you saying? Whatever happened to what were you saying, sir? I can't
Sound
hear you.
like y'all expecting. Oh, my bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. It sound like a lot. It sound like y'all expecting or want men to expect finished products, which is crazy. That's
No, no,
unfair to
no.
me.
No,
That's
Absolutely
unfair
not.
to me.
What we're just saying is whatever you marry, make sure you don't have any deal breakers in that because you
For
don't
sure.
know how it's going to be in the end. No, it's not a finished product. She's going to adapt to you. You're going to adapt to her.
Uh,
No, but whatever it is, if it's something that you don't want, completely don't want, deal breaker, don't allow it to come into the marriage, is what we're saying.
for sure.
And she damn near should be finished product before you marry her anyway.
No, ain't no
If
such
you don't,
thing as a finished product.
I'm,
He
I'm
don't,
not saying a finished. She should be close to it.
he
She
don't
should be
agree with
close.
that.
Well, I'm just
But,
saying
but maybe we
before I give her my last name, she's gonna have to be damn near where I need her to be before I give her my last name. Now, of course, she's gonna have some outlines where she's still learning, still growing, still doing different things, developing all that.
adapting to you,
Uh,
adapting to you.
yes, but she's damn near gonna be on point where I need her to be before I give her my last name.
So, American man, we're just saying don't settle for something that you know that you don't want.
Yeah, for sure.
You
But
just know.
I'm saying
What I would
it's
say,
unfair to me. It's unfair to me to tell her, just like some of us in this male in the manosphere. Some people in the manosphere, I hear men talk about, oh, women want the finished product. You always want the finished product, and we call that disingenuous, and say it's unfair. I'm saying the same thing for women. What if she is fat? But if you tell her, like, hey, I need a fit woman, if that's what you want, and she's down to make those lifestyle changes, what's the issue, bro? Like,
It's
Dude,
just
if you
one
don't
of those
like heavyset
things.
women, then why pursue her?
Yeah.
Why'd you even
not,
pursue
yeah,
her?
but
what I,
I
what
don't
I
want to
would
talk
say
about
is like with
being
all the
finished.
red flags. I tell to do this all the time. Nobody's coming to you perfect, but you know what? Make a list at least 3 or 4 of your top red flags that's going to make you walk away.
Mhm.
And then from there, if you see a woman, if you're not into big women, don't chase after big women. That's one of your red flags. If you're not into women that smoke weed or cigarettes, don't chase after women that smoke weed and cigarettes.
Mhm.
But other stuff that you feel like is low level, that could be fixable, and she's willing to show that she's willing to, work with you because it's like a job and stuff. When I go to a new job, I can't carry the 100% skills from a last job to the new job because they run their job a certain structure. So I have to still relearn the new structure how they learn in the new company. Some skills I could bring to the old company to the new one because that's universal. But remember, it's a new face, new company, new building, new structure. I have to still learn the new structure to readjust and
All
stuff.
right.
So,
Thank you, Mel. Listen, y'all come into the live, giving us a thumbs up. Please give us a thumbs up. We need some more likes. And I'm finna say it wrong again, but Aka.
It's okay. So
Is that right?
I didn't hear how you said it, but you didn't sound confident, so I just
I want to say Aika, but I'm saying, is that wrong? Yeah. Tell me.
Ika, like
Ika.
and then
I want
like that's the way you can remember it.
Ika. Ika. Go ahead, Ika.
So an American man. Okay, that's your name. Sorry. So I guess like the warning that maybe everyone else was trying to say to you is that there's certain things that, like, especially with lifestyle changes, it can't be done for someone else necessarily. And when you set things up to where like maybe a woman wants to change for you, it only works to a certain extent. And that's a dangerous place for you to be, right? Because that puts you in a situation where you kind of feel like you got cheated, right? So it's important. Like I think it's good to have like an idea of what you can tolerate and what you cannot tolerate. And know what those are clearly when you're looking at a potential partner, right? So if for example, if I know, let's go with weight. Let's say you're interested in a woman and she happens to be overweight, and you that's concerning to you because later down the line it could have issues with like kids and just health issues in general, right? You can't expect her to, like, I don't think it's healthy to expect her to slim up right before, because she has to want to do that. And if you make that if you like make it somewhat of a requirement in your mind that she has to and she doesn't, you're going to be disappointed, and that's just going to be terrible for your relationship. There's some things that I think you have to have a reasonable expectation to what people will or will not change. And if there's things that you cannot accept, you're going to have to let that go. Like you're going to have to let that person go, or if you have to let that requirement go.
I agree with all that.
Yeah. So just, I think the warning was like, oh, please be careful, because it sounded like a lot of women were changing for you and you were good with that. And it's one of those things where it's like some of those changes might not actually be solid. They'll just be solid until she gets what she wants, and then it's done.
Ika, is that your man in the back?
Yeah. I didn't.
Hey, man. How you doing over there? I see you.
Right.
How you feeling?
All right. I actually do have a couple things to say as well.
Okay, you got a name?
Yeah, my name's Bob.
Is that really your name? Your name really Bob? I can say Bob and won't mess it up. Ika, they said your name is beautiful, but not when I mess it up. But anyway.
Yeah, you're getting better. Good practice.
I'm getting better. Listen, the chat broke it down for me. They actually literally wrote the word I, and I got it now. You got to keep it simple for me. I'll clear you do. Okay, Bob, what you got for us?
Okay. I used to say I couldn't be with somebody who was with me for my potential. For the potential to be what they wanted me to be. Like I wanted somebody who loved me for who I was, where I was in the darkest part of my life. I want somebody to be there with me as I am.
Absolutely.
I don't want because if you're with me for what I can be, then you're gonna dislike me and grow, get begrudging and all sorts of different stuff every time I'm not taking a step to that future version of me that you see I could be.
Absolutely.
As long as I'm over there rolling, trying to figure myself out, doing whatever, just because I'm not being what you think I am, like, or think I could be, like, that's just going to cause all sorts of animosity between us where you're not satisfied because you feel like I should be working harder to become the man you want me to be or whatever. And the idea is whether it's a big woman, whatever, don't matter what, if you love her, then you love her. And if you want better for her, you show that, you do that, you support that. Anytime she takes a step in that direction, you support that. Anytime she doesn't, you still love her and let her know that, the reason why you want her to do it, is usually for her benefit, but it's not something that is strong enough of a negative to actually turn you off, right? Like, that's if you care about her. If you don't care about her, then like you said, there's some things you need to walk away from, there's no point in it, but sometimes you find out things after you already done put your heart in it, And in that situation, I found out she smoked or whatever. Da 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 da. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you do have to let her know what your boundaries are, what your tolerances are, and that this is something that is affecting your relationship, because and also why it's that way, right? Like, I got a sensitive nose. This is not gonna work, right? Like, I can't be all up in this 24/7, right? And that's cool, but it's just one of those things where she's gonna have to make up her mind whether she wants to be with you or that cigarette, whether she
That's
wants
my whole point.
whether she wants to smoke weed or do that. But that kind of conversation don't happen if the heart ain't in it. If the heart ain't in it, you walk away because there ain't no point in it. Why have this conversation with somebody that don't matter?
Yeah.
So
Because
listen,
my whole thing is, even in my, I don't like deal with people who have like these big not character flaws, but big incongruencies with what I want. But like, I don't expect perfection. Like, if she got an attitude, and like that can be smoothed over. If she deal with people a way that I think is disrespectful to me
yeah,
or our relationship,
be the
that can be
worst.
smoothed over. Like, or if she's into social media, that can be smoothed over. Like, but
That's the worst chat or the best chat. This is the best chat ever. Listen,
it's I think it's wild to expect your perfect woman to just walk into your life. That's crazy. Like,
you're
that's kind
right.
of there's an entitlement that comes with that just doesn't sit right with me.
American man,
My
you're
man,
right. And that's exactly what we were saying. Don't expect that. We thought that we kind of heard each other incorrectly, but I think Bob has dropped the mic on that too, and put you dead on the right track because he's a man and he did that for us. And thank you, Bob, for doing that. But I got a question, Bob. You know how to dance?
Do you know this about the show? You just gotta really show.
You know what you got to do now. Look, Big Bear Bull done put out a $10 super chat. He said, "Let's see the panel dance." So everybody on here, even these young folks that take the life
Let's get
so
it.
serious, y'all are so serious. My God,
Life is
got
serious.
to move your shoulders.
Let's go.
All right, so let's go. Go ahead, the money line.
Mm,
I'm
mm,
That's your head,
mm,
Bob. That ain't your shoulders. There you go.
It's all right.
mm.
Look at Donald. He's so damn serious. He can't even move his mouth with his top lip. Donald. It's okay. It's okay. Look at him. Got his.
Move those shoulders.
I'm just listening to the conversation.
Oh, you over in the chat. The chat is too funny. You can't. You can't. Don't
No,
do it.
no. I say I'm just listening to the conversation.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't,
Well,
I
the
don't
conversation comes with smiles and laughter and breathing. So I'm just please do that too. But we love
American man,
here. So listen, guys, we have been here 3 hours and 11 minutes, and it's time to say good night. But I want you all to take us out. So, Mel, you go ahead and start us off. What do you want to leave us with tonight?
Um, love, peace, and hair grease.
All right, Mel. Good night. Good night, American man. What you got for us?
I mean, I ain't really got much, man. Like, yeah, I'm gonna just leave it with what I've given this whole commentary. But yeah, shout out to you.
All right, that was good. Thank you. Um, Ika and
Hey,
Bob, what y'all got for us?
we got anything? We
Y'all
I
can.
mean, y'all went over a lot of
Bob
topics.
back so he can drop the mic some more.
Yeah, baby, drop the mic.
Yeah, I mean, y'all went over a lot of topics.
We did.
Anyways, I'm gonna just say that you really can't deserve the perfect partner. No matter how much you work for it, no matter how much whatever, the one that's meant for you, you don't deserve her. You can't. It's a gift, you know. And if you go in thinking that you've accomplished this and this and this, and then that she needs to come in with this and this and this, and not that I'm grateful that God presented me with a chance to be with a woman, when I've had this and this mistake or setback in my life, if you come at it, full of pride, you might miss out on something special.
I like that. Listen, I gotta have you men back, all of you all, because our young brothers loved it. Well, y'all, they need y'all. They need y'all. Oh, we got another super chat. Y'all get to move y'all shoulders again before y'all go. Mr. Awesome, thank you so much for your $10 super chat. It says it's easy when, let me read it here. It's easy when you have a grasp of yourself. It hit me when my female friend told me how much of a positive influence I am on her out of all her friends. Oh, this is good. The key is to be honest and critical of yourself.
Yeah.
I like that. So, Donald, what would you like to take us out with? Oh, before you do that, though, let's hit the money line song.
Ooh.
Going up, we know the kind.
Money line.
There you go.
I'm running every time.
Give me mine. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Awesome. And Donald, what would you like to leave us with today, sir?
No, I was just gonna say thank you for letting me come on and subscribe to Security Boss.
Anytime. Thank you so much for that. I want you to smile. Can you smile for us? I might have a woman out there for you if you smile.
I got plenty of women. I ain't worried about that.
I guess you straighten me out.
You get me.
Thank you, Donald.
I know that's right.
You in? What's going on, Hink? What you got for us?
Hey, man. Men, protect yourself at all times. And remember this last thing, man. Black love is a beautiful thing. Y'all have a good night.
All right, guys. Listen, thank you, chat. Friday and Saturday nights at 4. We're going to do it next week. So I will see you all then. But you're going to see me on Monday also. I'm going to be co-hosting with Black Man at 7:30. I don't know what time it'll be, y'all. 7:30 Eastern time on Monday. It'll be me and Black Man. We'll be here. Well, y'all have a good rest of the weekend, and I appreciate you so much. Listen, thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Keep it Charlie, stay down with them Dickens. Let's get around like it's the 80s, right? Round, let's keep spinning. Let's keep playing these games that we don't want to finish. And I'm sorry if that sounds a bit bitter, but I am to the core. You want the whole damn thing, then you asking for more. You want that old jive swing, you take up all of the floor. I'm fine with standing at the edge of the door. You be the life of the party, I blend in with the core. You drink it all the Bacardi till the bottles no more. Let's take it back for this started. You want the love, I don't got it. Got my soul on the road. You screaming stay, baby please don't go. Don't think it's in me to listen to flow. It's so different with distance we roam into zones where nothing get hurt anymore. I just wish I was home when I stepped through front door, but instead I'm alone and completely unsure. And even though you're screaming out with the best of intentions, I don't get it. Why do you always gotta ask me to stay? Why you always gotta go? Playing house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. Say, why you always gotta go? Playing house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. See, I've been lost in my thoughts, and my thoughts they too scared to usher off. Sorry, Mom, I just thought you were my world. Now you're not. And I'm just sitting, smoking, sloping in the days, cause my days ain't been the same since I drove your away. I remember the way you wrote letters in blue ink. You and me was in love. Think about what your crew think. I know your moms probably think I'm a bastard. Your pops probably want to beat my death and take a in my casket. But I got sick of fighting, bickering, fussing over nothing, cussing. Instead of watching the death of discussions that we once had, days that we once spent in the backseat of our cars, reading poets at sunset. It's funny how love can fall out the foreground, get pushed into the back of your mind. We used to twist a spliff and laugh and relax. Are you crying? And I'm trying to find the reasons, so I ask, does forever ever happen, or is it always fade to black? I can't stay. No, I always gotta go. Playing house, this ain't a home with my soul on the road. I can't stay. No, I always gotta go. Playing house, this ain't a home with my soul on the road. Stop.